What's going on, drinking buddies? How's your apocalypse? I've been wearing the same bathrobe for a couple weeks. Pretty soon it can stand upright on its own. I hope everyone's staying safe, staying inside if you're able to. If you're forced to work or you're an essential worker, yeah, it sucks, man. I feel for you. I hope listening to this podcast is at least helping you get through your day or your commute. And we're all going to get through this the best we fucking can. Anyways, enough with the sappy shit. On with the ads. Woo! This week's podcast is brought to you by our friends at ANWD. We are brought to you by the video versions on Vimeo. Because, hey, while I'm wearing a bathrobe full time, this is my primary source of income between that and something else I'll talk about in just a minute. If you're able to, if you're financially able to at the moment, please support the show by picking up a video version at www.anwd.net/videos. I am debating, and I would love to hear from you guys on Twitter about giving away all the video versions of the remote shows I've been doing. It's not quite the same engagement as me doing a 3-camera shoot, and I know for the people that are stuck at home, it might be more engaging to watch us talk instead of just putting in the earbuds like you normally do when you're commuting. Get at me. I'd love to hear some feedback. But in the meantime, pick up an old school video episode or two. They're 99 cents a piece. Or subscribe monthly to get all the episodes streaming. $6.99 a month. Once again, that is www.anwd.net/videos. Check out the video versions. We are also brought to you this week by my video game habit. I'm Twitch streaming now. I'm on all the time playing various assortment of games. Check me out at www.twitch.tv/MattEffinSlayer. Occasionally I'm dicking around and doing a live podcast on Twitch. In addition to that, I'm playing Borderlands 3, UFC 2, and a couple other games. Check it out. If you have Amazon Prime, do me a huge favor. Sign up, get your Twitch Prime account, and throw me a subscription. It doesn't cost you anything. 5 minutes of your time. And I would be indebted because it does generate real money for me. So, come watch me play video games. It'll be fucking fun. And last but not least, we are brought to you by an actual sponsor of this show, our friends at Vinyl Me Please. Vinyl Me Please is the Record of the Month Club. The best damn Record of the Month Club. In fact, every month, Vinyl Me Please features one album that is essential to the modern vinyl collection. Each record is pressed exclusively for Vinyl Me Please and has features you can't get anywhere else. Things like bonus tracks, inserts, colored variants, and comes packaged with a 12x12 album-inspired art print and custom cocktail pairing recipe. I have been talking about Vinyl Me Please forever. They're a long-time sponsor of the show, and I know times are tough. But if you have the money, sign up for this amazing record club. It's not like Record of the Month clubs of old. It's month to month, no strings attached. It supports the show if you buy some records. And it won't be like Record of the Month clubs of old, where they're chasing you for the next 20 years for your commitment to buy some more CDs or tapes. So get some rad vinyl, get some new art, and a custom cocktail pairing recipe. Do that all today at www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. Once again, that is www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. All right, now that we got the fun stuff out of the way, woohoo! My guest this week remotely, because we're doing the whole responsible COVID thing, is Penthouse Pet, Twistys Treat. Her awards go on and on and on. Miss Jayden Cole. This is a super fun episode. We get into conspiracy theories. We have her very first White Claw on air. We talked about food she misses from the road, the changing nature of the porn industry, and a whole lot more. This episode is an absolute blast. I've been trying to get Jayden in to do the show for about 2 years now, so I'm happy that I finally dragged her on air for you guys. She's a fucking amazing person. So sit back, relax, pop a cold one, and enjoy this episode with Miss Jayden Cole.
When aliens come to take over, they look at us like we're out of our minds now. We're gonna galactic makeover, and now we're thinking that they just might be right. I cannot wait for this whole world to end. I'm gonna break out the bottle with my friends. I think they'll tell the best stories.
are ready to rock and roll. Jayden Cole, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing well. How's your apocalypse?
My apocalypse has been going probably a lot better than most people's, and that's not lost on me. The first week, I had a really dark time just worrying for other people who don't have the opportunity to work, to feed their families, or they're just stuck in a house with their family members. They're like, fuck, I don't get a break from you at all? Like, I can't imagine. It hit me particularly at a really good time in my life. Thank God, by the grace of God, I kind of feel like a lot of us got a pass, at least a lot of people that I know, just because we're in entertainment industry and we can do things like this, like Zoom podcasts and webcam and, all kinds of stuff like that allows us to keep living.
Exactly. We're fortunate. Unfortunately, like a lot of other stuff I do is mainstream production, and that's all fucking shut down right now. So it's a little slow for me, but I'll get by.
No, I understand. There's definitely aspects of the entertainment industry that are suffering because of this right now. I know for me, I go on the road to do feature dancing a lot. That's always been my kind of main bread and butter. However, with the way that the industry is changing, I've become sort of in a place where I want to start working from home more consistently because that's really where the money is. But it's really hard. It's weird to change your money mindset. It's always uncomfortable. Like, I'm used to just going on the road. I leave the house, I go to the airport, and I go make the money. And so it's hard to teach yourself, like, no, you stay here. You just stay at the house. That's where you make the money now. So it's weird to change your mindset. But this forced me into it in a really positive way. I shouldn't use a word like force, but,
Well, and generally change comes about from exterior things. So, good or bad, it comes around that way. And it's awesome that, you're able to embrace it and be like, hell yeah, this is a positive. Because I know for a lot of people, they're just like, fuck. It still hasn't set in.
Very small percentage of businesses that truly thrive during something like this. And the online adult community is definitely thriving right now. Just I'm grateful for every penny that I can earn right now while this horrible tragedy is going on. I actually had in April, from April 2nd to May 2nd, I actually was booked on the road 5 weeks in a row. And that's not normal. Like that's a really rough run, but I was prepared mentally to do it. I had 2 weeks. The first weekend I was supposed to be in New York City, April 2nd, that weekend. Next weekend this past weekend I was supposed to be in Madison, Wisconsin right now. Next weekend I was supposed to be in Chicago at Exotica. The following weekend, Pittsburgh, then Philly. And it's just mind-blowing. So a lot of people are coming up to me like, oh, your tour, it got canceled. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm not. I'm actually like in a place where I wanted to start working from home anyway. I've been on the road for 8-9 years nonstop. Like, and I kind of want to nest a little bit.
And of the clubs you just listed, I'm like, I know exactly which clubs. It's like you were going to be at Deja Vu in New York.
No,
really?
There's no Deja Vu in New York. You know what it is, though.
Yeah, it's the one everyone dances at. It's
the one. Yeah, they book features every week. Sapphire.
Right. Sapphire, yeah. Deja Vu, Sapphire, New York, then probably Silk in Madison.
Yes, my favorite.
It's been years since I've worked at Silk. And then
Exotica, Chicago.
Exotica, Chicago, if you were going to do a feature there, it would be like Heavenly Bodies sometimes had after parties or the Admiral. And then, let's see.
Pittsburgh
would be cheerleaders, most likely.
No, actually, there's cheerleaders. I was going to do cheerleaders in Philly the following weekend, but Pittsburgh, do you remember Blush?
Yeah, it's
now, the new Blush.
Yeah, the new Blush. I actually was just having a conversation with Dick Dangle yesterday, so.
That's great.
We were talking about the Pittsburgh clubs literally yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I've been to almost all those clubs at one time or another, so it's...
Oh, awesome.
Well, I used to rodeo for people, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. See, that business, it's just sort of drying up. Like the less people are going to clubs. The clubs don't make money anymore. It's basically like you're touring a restaurant. Like when you go back there and you meet the employees, it's like ran like a restaurant. I worked in a lot of restaurants before I got in the industry and bars. And so I know. I'm like, oh, this is just a glorified bar You know what I mean? Like sometimes when I go around, I'm like, this industry's dying and the people aren't getting any nicer.
Yeah, yeah. Especially Sapphire, not about not being nice, but like being like a restaurant. Sapphire, New York is such like they have that really nice steakhouse in it.
Yeah, some of them do. There's very small percentage of strip clubs that have restaurants that I'll eat at, but Sapphire, New York is definitely one of them. My other favorite, there are certain clubs that are staples that are always going to do well. Sapphire is one of them, but there's also one in Long Island, my favorite, called Gossip, that was redone years ago, and apparently it used to be a dump, but I've only seen it be like my favorite club in the world. I'm like, this place is great. So I'll stop by there sometimes just to like do a photo shoot or video shoot on their pole because their stage is so dope.
Nice.
But that place will always do well. It's super upscale and it's packed every Friday, Saturday night. Those are the clubs that don't need features.
I honestly don't know why New York books features all the time. Like, I've never been in there where it wasn't like shoulder to shoulder line out the door like it was a club.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like Gossip too. It's a nightclub. It's the place to be on a Friday, Saturday night in Long Island. It's packed and there's a nice dress code and they have their own in-house feature that comes out once an hour and like just destroys the stage and does incredible things. She has her own drop and everything and
Nice.
is super supportive of us. So believe me, there's things I miss about being on the road for sure, but it's also nice to just kind of reset.
No, I totally get that. And you're completely right that the industry altogether is changing. Like, this is illustrated so much that like OnlyFans and custom content creation is the wave of the future for almost everybody.
It's so true. You know, even with webcamming, like my OnlyFans is my baby and I've been working really hard at it this year, trying different things that work. And so when this happened, I was like, holy shit. I feel like if this has happened like even 6 months ago, I don't know what I would be doing. Obviously, I would be doing the same thing, but being able to focus on OnlyFans has been insane. Like I'm making plenty. Like I'm not missing a dime because these gigs got canceled with OnlyFans. And that's also how people book custom videos too. And I webcam on there every other night. And sometimes I make just as much as I would camming on another platform. So it's nice to focus on one platform and be like, how far can I take this? You know, taking notes, changing up. Sometimes I'll do it from the bedroom. Sometimes I'll do it from the cam room, like just seeing what different things work. It's kind of cool. I love it.
Hell yeah. But one thing that you got to miss about the road is like the regional delicacies that you can't get anywhere else. Like, what regional delicacies are you missing from being on the road, though?
Oh, man. Well, let's start with New York. I like New York food. It's all fantastic. Some of my best friends live in the city, so we always do a couple crazy fancy dinners that are super fun. And then let's see here.
At least one of the times you were in New York, you were over at Pouring Ribbons, which is my guy's place.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Remember I texted you about that? I'm like, you're in fucking Pouring Ribbons? You should have told me. I would have.
Yes, I did. I was with Danny Daniels and her husband took me. It's like a speakeasy. It's so fucking cool. It was great. We were there for hours. That's East Village, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool as hell. That's what I love about New York. Especially you get like a local and it's like, it's a completely different situation than anything I've experienced. All the dining experiences there are like top notch.
Hell yeah. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what else are you missing from the road, food-wise?
Oh, Madison, Wisconsin is always fun. You wouldn't believe this, but Madison is one of the towns I like to hang out in and get a late flight out on Sunday so that I can spend the day there because the house manager and like the house mom and a couple security guys I keep in touch with and the girls, and we always end up at a diner at 4 a.m. after the Saturday night shows. And then on Sunday, we all go out downtown. You know, it's just like a college football town. So it's super fun. So I like to go out and drink beer and like eat cheese curds and experience that before I go.
Hell yeah.
And then Chicago, I've been to Geno's East. And so I've done like a couple. You know Ivan?
Yeah.
You know Ivan?
Yeah, I know Ivan.
Yeah, he lives near you, actually. Very close by. But Ivan and I went to Chicago the last couple of years. We take a whole day and we fly out the next day. And we try to do something fun. Like we did the Sears Tower one year, Geno's East.
They opened a Geno's in LA, right?
Oh, did they really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. You know, they have a Giordano's here
Yeah.
in Vegas.
On the Strip, I know. I'm so fucking jealous because
I don't think, well, maybe on the Strip. I don't go to the Strip as much, but like it's in Summerlin. It's in like the suburbs.
they opened one in the suburbs too. Because
Oh yeah.
right before AVN 18, they opened the one on the Strip.
Right.
It's like in Bally's, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna maybe go over to the Strip, maybe.
Yeah, dude. Yes. And Pittsburgh, I didn't really. I ate pretty clean last time I was there. The hotel they put you up at has 24-hour room service, and it's like the nicest. It's a really nice hotel they put you up at. So by like night 3, and it's a long gig. They do Tuesday through Saturday. They used to do. I don't think they do that anymore. But by like night 3. The woman who was working the room service at like 2 a.m. already knew my name, knew my order. One time we were talking so much just about like we got into a conversation about 9/11. And by the time, this is what happens on the road. You just make friends with whoever's around. And so by the time my food, I was like, hang on, my food's here. Cause I'd ordered the same like tomato soup and salad every night. And so the door knocks. I'm like, hang on. Lady who just took my order, she like put it in and we just get to yapping away. And before I knew it, my food was there. I was like, I'm gonna go eat now, but I'll talk to you tomorrow. Same time, same place.
Hell yeah.
So I love making those kind of just random connections on the road. That was my favorite thing. And Philly's great. I have friends there. Do you know like the cheesesteak situation there from like a local?
I forgot the place. Last time I worked Cheerleaders, we ended up like I was at Cheerleaders and Bonnie Rotten was at the other club in Philly. And I ended up meeting up with them at some bar for a local cheesesteak. That one of the clubs recommended. And I totally am spacing on the name of it. It was fucking phenomenal.
I have a friend who's a local in Philly. And they're like, look, every tourist wants to go to Pat's or Gino's because they're famous.
Right.
But they are such dog shit. The meat sits up there. Like they were telling everything wrong with the place. Besides the fact that you probably have to wait in line because of the tourist. It's a tourist trap. And I was like, man, that's so fucked up. And then I go to other spots. If your listeners are from Philly, they'll know like Tony Luke's, Ishkabibbles, places like that. And so I went there. And then every time someone will be like, oh, yeah, I love those cheesesteaks in Philly, man, Pat's or Gino's. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That is not a local spot. And I was like, what if I just said I was going to fuck Charlie Sheen? Because it's famous. He's famous. It's like, you can't just like put something inside your body just because it's famous.
Hey, a lot of people have. A lot of people have.
I'm not about it. I don't recommend it.
I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And, I did do Pat's and Gino's last time I was there, too, just to do the tourist comparison. But it was also, like, in the middle of the night, so it's like there wasn't much
matter. Yeah.
It's like,
all bets are off.
It was post-club, and the feature I was working for made me do all the shots that guests, were buying for her.
Right. You know what's fun, though? You could suggest if you ever roadie again, to do the thing that I used to do when I was a cocktail waitress, which was if someone wanted to buy me a shot, I'd get a shot of Patron and then have a deal with the bartender that they just hook up a shot of water.
I mean, I would do that trick. Like normally when I was roadieing, I wouldn't drink.
Right.
But on this particular gig at Cheerleaders, she didn't want to drink, and obviously I don't want her to drink.
Yeah.
And it was some high roller who had bottle service at the table, and we were taking shots out of the bottle on the table.
Can't hide that.
Nope. Luckily, I can drink.
Yeah. What are you drinking tonight? What is your drink of choice?
Well, right now we are drinking Eagle's Rare Bourbon. It's a 10-year aged bourbon.
Oh, man. And that's your jam?
I dig it. I mean, I have various bourbons in my jam. You got anything that you're hiding off camera there?
No, as a matter of fact, because of the theme of your show, I was my friends all trying to get me to try White Claw.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm not a carbonated beverage person at all. So I'm not really interested. Like I never drank seltzer. I'm not a LaCroix girl. I'm not really into trends, but I did. Someone was like, oh, it's so not like they were trying to sell me on it. But then I was listening to some deep state conspiracy theory podcasts. and they were talking shit about White Claw and how they think it has drugs in it, like a cocaine type drug.
Is this something that our mutual friend Sam Tripoli is going over?
Yes. Yeah, I was literally listening to one of his podcasts, and one of his guests, he was doing one of those swap casts, and the guy he was doing a swap cast with was like, so I fuck 25-year-old girls, so I always have some White Claw on me, but I'm telling you, one night I tried it, and I swear to God, it does something different to you. There's something different.
I don't know. I drank about 6 of them last night because it just happened. Yeah.
Where were you?
I was doing some tech support for a friend of mine who was having some audio problems, so that's what she had.
So 6 White Claws are the equivalent to 1 good bourbon, I would say.
They're actually like 5% alcohol by volume.
Yeah. So they're what?
More than a beer. Like a beer's like a beer's like 4.2%, so it's a little bit more than a beer per can.
That's not bad.
No, I mean, so I was fine.
If you're a bourbon guy, I have some pictures I want to send you. I went to a bourbon tasting not that long ago at a friend's house, when this collection will blow your fucking mind.
Oh no, what do you got?
Okay. Let's start with my favorite. Are you familiar with like these high-end Scotch whiskeys and bourbons?
The bourbon's just the Scotches, no, because Scotch isn't really to my palate.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm aware of some of them, but if you're like, that is a blah, 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 I'm fairly sure that's impressive. I probably have never drank it. Probably never will.
Yeah, all right. Well, I had this really fancy, it was an Arbor Lore Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey, aged 16 years, single cask edition, the Distillery Reserve Collection. I don't know. It was fancy. I got pictures. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And then there was like this bottle of Macallan. Do you like Macallan?
Also, Scotch, not my flavor, but
that's right. To be honest with you, I get Scotch and bourbon a little confused.
Okay.
These are some good Scotches. I'll send you pictures so you can show off to people. If you ever run into someone that knows their Scotch whiskey, you can be like, yeah, here's a lineup. Look at this. Can you see this rainbow of Macallan?
Oh, I can.
Yeah.
I mean, that is probably thousands of dollars worth of alcohol right there.
Oh, so much. So much.
For the audio audience, that was just like a cornucopia of Scotch.
It was a rainbow of Macallan, of bottles of Macallan. And that wasn't even the half of it. So how have you been providing food for yourself during this lockdown? I know LA, I know where you live, and it's like you're in the middle of fucking all the shit.
I am. Gotten some food deliveries. Yeah. I ordered groceries last weekend. I haven't, besides yesterday, which was mildly ill-advised to leave the house because Lord knows how much that girl's actually been quarantining. I kept giving her shit. Like I went over there to help her out because I'm an idiot. We'll just go with I'm an idiot. And I'm like, you have killed me, woman. I've come over here to help you with your audio problems, and you literally you've killed me. You've probably given me COVID. Like, no, I haven't.
Do you know anyone that's gotten it?
Not directly. Some people I know, like socially over the internet, have, but not anyone directly.
Wow, that's bonkers. So I haven't either. Vegas has been pretty quiet. We're all just kind of like miserable and wondering when we can all get back to work and like going to dinner again. But no, I don't know anybody either. But the grocery ordering I started doing right away, but it's so overwhelmed right now that you kind of got to find a sweet spot, like a time slot that works. So I've been waiting till midnight to order groceries. It's been working, man. I can't get a delivery window all day, but after midnight, around like 12:45 a.m., for some reason, I have good luck.
Nice.
So that's when I've been ordering my groceries. And I've taken like one trip to the grocery store once a week, and it feels like you're just going into a war zone. Because you don't know, like, who's going to give a fuck? Who's going to cough on you? Like, you're just like the stress and anxiety that goes into just like a trip to the grocery store is unprecedented.
It's been 2.5 weeks since the last time I went to a grocery store, and I'm trying not to do it again for the rest of this because motherfuckers were bringing their kids and like their teenagers with them to the grocery store. It's like, I understand it's a small child that you can't leave at home by themselves. Why are you fucking here as a family unit right now?
Oh my God.
Like, send one motherfucker to go grocery shopping.
Yeah, totally. That's so weird. Especially in like like in LA, Hollywood proper. It's like, it's already like a hassle to go to the grocery store.
Right.
That's great.
I'm just like, what? Why is there a teenager here? Why are you guys in the fucking aisle having a discussion about what to get? Make a fucking list, grab your shit, get the fuck out.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. Especially LA, everyone's so entitled too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to treat this shit like, what was that old game show? Like Supermarket Dash?
Yeah.
Like, I got my cart. I just run through aisles, knocking shit into the fucking, like, I didn't want that, but it's in my cart now. Fuck it. It'll last.
Yeah. Like I was talking to a friend and it was about 5 p.m. and we're like, all right. He's like, all right, I just pulled into the grocery store. I was like, what? 5 p.m.? Are you ready to go? Like, did you bring your weapons of mass destruction with you? Because you're going to need it. That's crazy. Because I went at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, trying to miss out on that senior sweep.
Yeah, you can't really quite pass as a senior. You'd have to put on a gray wig and shit to try to slide in there if you went any earlier. So
I know. I walk way too healthy to be considered a senior citizen.
See, you got to just go buy it. It's Vegas. There's got to be some extra walkers around. Go grab a walker and just, hobble in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got some costuming somewhere. I know you do.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot to be in Vegas during this time.
Is everything still 24 hours in Vegas, or they shut down hours on things?
Oh, I don't know. Nothing. Listen, I moved to Vegas like a year ago because a lot of my work is here. A lot of people that I work with are here, and they're more dependable. Like the people in my industry, we can work from home, but you have to have people that show up and are going to do what they came to do and be on time. And that really is, Vegas is the spot for it. And we can get these like baller houses to fucking shoot in a lot easier and quicker than we could in LA. So it's been great work-wise. And also, I'm just not I'm not a small town person. Like, you know what I mean? And Vegas is very much it's Nevada. Like, I'm not living on the Strip. I'm living in Nevada. Like, I feel like a very...
I lived in Summerlin for 3 years, right?
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I made the opposite trek. Like, I lived over at Buffalo and Lake Mead, right behind the Vons.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Like literally behind the Vons?
Like
in
the
the
apartment.
dumpster?
Like the apartment complex directly behind the Vons.
You were not homeless. All right.
No, I mean, for a year of it, I technically was because I was on the road so much I gave up my apartment, but...
Yeah. Yeah. The studios here, they're like super easy and cheap to rent by the hour kind of, and like everything work-wise is great. But anything that's 24 hours in Vegas, I don't personally utilize. The only places I go is like the airport, the grocery stores, the nail salons. Those all open and close at the same hours that anywhere else would,
Well, like I used to, roll into Steiner's at like 4 o'clock in the morning sometime, get like a burger, and I miss that shit. But I know your guys' bars are probably closed down too, just like ours.
Yeah, yeah. If it's like predominantly a bar, it is closed down.
Yeah.
Weird.
I do miss the 24-hour grocery stores because those are few and far between here.
Oh, are there 24 hours? See, I go to Whole Foods and like Trader Joe's and Sprouts, and they have the same hours nationally. So like I'm never at anywhere that to utilize the 24-hour thing that Vegas is.
Yeah, like
so
Vons and Albertsons in Vegas are 24 hours usually.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. I should start going there. I wonder if they're open 24 hours now.
Yeah, I mean, even the grocery stores that were late night here in LA are now on reduced hours.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. You know what seems crazy to me? Trader Joe's. That place seems like the worst place to shop right now at this time. It's like the best time. I saw an article, like it was one of the top places to work, like an entry-level job in America, and now it's turned to literally one of the worst because there's just, it's already kind of difficult and uncomfortable to shop at Trader Joe's. You're like, the parking lots always suck. I know they do in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're all just like, everyone's in each other's business, and it's just tough.
Well, at least in LA, they're making people go in only 10 at a time.
Oh, that's great. Good for LA. Good on you.
Good on them, but it's a 45-minute wait, 6 feet apart outside to get in.
Oh my gosh. Well, hang on, Matt. Let me go grab a White Claw. How about that? And we'll do we'll take my White Claw virginity right here on
Oh
the
my
show.
God. The only virginity left to take.
All right. All right. Hold on.
Oh, Jayden's getting herself a White Claw. We get to judge her on what flavor she ends up getting. It will be very interesting to see what horrible flavor she ends up taking. Yeah, I'm not proud to admit that I went out into the world last night, but, trying to help people out, trying to be good. And it's like, oh, that friend lives alone. And Jayden's back. What flavor of White Claw do you have?
So I got ruby grapefruit. I ordered it because all our groceries and alcohol and weed is delivered. By the way, the night that this happened, I had my last dance gig in Phoenix, Arizona, March 13th and 14th. I got home the 15th. I was talking to friends, and then someone mentioned, it was like 7 p.m. on that Tuesday, and someone said, oh, Vegas is shutting down for 30 days. Every non-essential business will be closed at midnight tonight. But it really was noon the next day. But I heard midnight tonight, so I got in my car immediately, went to the weed store, pulled into the parking lot, saw a line around the back, and pulled right the fuck back out. I was like, I'll find an old school weed dealer. I don't want to deal with this line shit.
Right.
So then the next day, I woke up at like 7:45 in the morning. They open at 8. I wanted to be in line at 7:50. I put in my online order. I was in and out. And then they announced that weed is an essential business here, and they will be remaining open. I was like, I went through all that just for nothing. So are you familiar with the guys over at Compound Media?
I know of them.
Yeah, there's one of the one show that's hosted by a female, Chrissy Mayer, is called The Wet Spot. And so I did it back in December. We've kept in touch. Her and her show partner or whatever, they were telling me that ruby grapefruit is the flavor to start off on. So cheers, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Jen, it's been trying to get you on forever. I'm bummed that we had to do it remotely, but times are tough.
These are crazy times we're living in.
Right? It's like, it takes a world-ending virus to get you off the road to actually sit you down to have a conversation with you. So
yeah, I'm liking it. People are like, oh, you must be missing out on so much money and work. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm not. I was in a place where I was about to start transitioning to working from home, having more time. My skin is better. My dog is happy. Like everything is just wonderful. My house is clean from head to toe. We've all got an opportunity to kind of like hit those corners and deep spring cleaning that we never get around to. And some of us are just taking it day by day. I know.
Exactly. I am too, and I know like firsthand the road burnout is real too. Like everyone like has this romanticized opinion of like being on the road and like, oh, you get to see all these places and go all these places. It's like, yeah, that's cool for like the first year, maybe the second year. And then it's like, oh, I've been to the same places. I've gone to the same spots. And like the way I like to refer to it as is like I started to be guest starring in my own life.
Yeah, most of the time, most of the places, like 80% of being on the road in America is literally like you're overlooking like a parking lot. I can live off a Walmart for one weekend. I buy my own groceries, but like not having to do that and like just getting to be able to cook all my food at home. And yeah, there is fun stuff to see. And if I started like a year ago, I only will take bookings in cities that I like San Francisco. I like Madison, Wisconsin. I like the Philly, the Pittsburgh. I love PA. My last gig I did to a place where I didn't really like was in February in Tampa. People are great, but the overall just the club is gross. Like, everyone's a swinger down there in Tampa. They all assume that you are just like queen swinger. And I'm like, oh my God, you're one of those. Like, you think you know something about a adult performer sexuality when you really don't know anything. And it's certainly not Tampa, Florida. I'm not Tampa sexual. What do we call it? Florida sexual.
You're like,
sexual.
I don't want to swing with 20 people in a dungeon because that's all I know about Tampa.
Dude, yes, that's so Tampa. I did have a friend. I have a good friend in Tampa. I have a lot of friends in Tampa because I'm in the adult industry, and they're all like the ones that thrive in the swinger community are definitely drawn to Florida, I find. So
yeah, nah.
Florida, like even if you're in like a nice one of the like one or two nice spots that Florida has. Like, you must really gotta love being the tallest midget, because if you go 20 minutes any which direction, you are just in the swampy. You're in like Tiger King land.
Yeah, it was amazing when I found out that documentary was not shot in Florida.
A little bit of it was.
Well, yeah, murderous Carol Baskin's part, but yes.
It's so funny because to me, her husband strikes me as someone who would live like, I don't know, in like Minnesota or something. You know, he's like, I just remember at the end, I thought it was so fucked up. They're all talking about how happy they were when Joe Exotic finally got in jail, and her husband goes, well, that was a night that called for celebration. We had a little wine and brie that night for sure. It's like, oh my God, these people fuck.
Oh yeah, these people fuck. Well, and the thing about it is that someone pointed out is I have some friends from Tampa also who pointed out that like where Carol was talking about the street that her first husband picked her up on is notoriously where, you know, you pick up streetwalkers.
No.
Yeah, that like 19-year-old Carol was probably a streetwalker.
Oh yeah, dude, totally. Dude, she was like, oh, I was just mad at my husband, so I went for a stroll. I was mad. I was like, ooh, girl, that's a good bit of information, man.
Yeah, like a couple of my friends from Tampa, like, no, Nebraska is like the spot to pick up streetwalkers. Like, oh, so like as much of we're talking shit about murderous Carol Baskin, it's like, you know, us in our community, should we be like supportive of the girl who went, I was a 19-year-old streetwalker in an abusive relationship, and my sex worker asked me to be a multi-million-dollar, you know, tiger enthusiast. And, you know, who knows if husband number 2 was actually a good dude. He took her off the street. He might have been a piece of shit too. So he may have deserved to be fed to a fucking tiger, allegedly. Please don't sue me.
Absolutely. I mean, taking into account everything. So when I first saw that, I resisted for a long time. It was like the first couple weeks of us being on lockdown, and I kept resisting because I'm a weirdo animal lover too. I'm a tiger queen myself. No, I'm just kidding. But
I'm glad this is remote and you can't feed me to an animal. Yes.
Yeah, you're safe. You're safe, boy. You got this.
For now.
So I resisted because I really just didn't want the visual of seeing these tigers get abused or like animals, whatever. I didn't want to see it. And I was doing great. I was like, oh my God, this movie's blowing my mind. Like, I just felt like Carol, if she really gave a shit about the animals, would have, instead of financially draining him, or while financially draining him, at least sent some kind of like a food truck to feed the cats, because she was financially draining them and these animals were suffering because of it. And she didn't give a fuck. She just kept going with it. And so I'm like, if this bitch gave 2 shits about animals, she would have sent like a truck full of, you know, maybe not expired Walmart meat. Who knows?
I mean, the moral of Tiger King is, for anyone who's listening who has not seen it by whatever reason, I'll give you my Netflix login. Just fucking watch it at this point. Like, if you haven't seen it, it's been out for a month. Where are you? Like, I don't understand. But how there are no redeeming characters in that show. No one is a good person. Not one.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's pretty interesting. I actually think that they were originally intending for that to be like a 4 or 5 part series. But have you seen? I read a couple interviews from the directors, and they were describing what it was like to meet Carol Baskin for the first time. And when she walked towards them as they were about to have their first meeting in person, she was wearing the flower crown. And one of the directors said they looked at the other one and went, she's perfect. Like, she's a nut. She's wearing a fucking flower crown. They were like, this is too good. We got to extend this. We got to have multiple episodes. It was just fascinating. What kind of trash is lying in the underbelly of America?
It's absolutely amazing. And I read an article that they have enough footage for a second season.
Oh, I bet they do. You were just like, what? This happened? I mean, there could be like a whole series just based on like the kid from California.
Yeah.
That committed suicide. Like, one thing I did notice, between the 3 husbands, you could tell which one was from California because he had the straightest teeth.
He had the straightest teeth, and he had like the kind of emo hair. Yeah,
like the Justin Bieber circa 2009 haircut for sure. Yeah, he was definitely. I mean, give it up to Joe. He did good. He's like, oh, I just can't help it. I just fall in love with young straight guys. I was like,
Here, have some meth.
do you now? Do you lure them in with meth?
Meth and tigers.
I know, right? Meth, tigers, fucking four-wheelers, a bunch of unlimited weed.
Some guns. Like,
I'd suck some dick for some fucking lifestyle like that. Holy shit.
I would, but it would be very unenthusiastic.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was something else. What else you been watching?
Let's see. What I've been trying to watch like at least a movie a day.
Okay.
Last night, after failing to fix my friend's audio problems, we ended up watching like 3 movies.
Oh, that's so fast. Like, I know you work in the mainstream entertainment industry, and so a lot of people that I know that do work in the mainstream entertainment industry do like to watch movies, watch TV shows, see how it goes. So what's your jam when it comes to movies? Are you open to anything?
Oh, you've been to my apartment. You've seen the wall of DVDs I have.
Yeah.
Like, I watch almost everything, but last night we watched she dragged me into watching Guys and Dolls from 55 with Marlon Brando and Sinatra.
How was that?
I mean, it was entertaining. It was definitely entertaining. It was like, oh, you have me watching a musical from the 50s. All right.
Yeah, I like some old movies. Some of them are good. I like old Stanley Kubrick stuff.
What's your favorite Kubrick?
Oh man, my dad is a former Marine, so he showed me and my brother, like, we watched a lot of National Geographic and Discovery Channel, which is why I don't really have the attention span to watch a lot of movies, especially by myself. I have a hard time watching them by myself. But if I'm with someone, I'm enjoying the process with them and we're bouncing, thoughts and ideas off each other. It's a better experience. But I typically grew up we watched a lot of National Geographic, and then he showed us Full Metal Jacket when me and my brother were like 8 and 5.
Yeah, that's not an appropriate age for that movie.
It was pretty great. He fast forwarded through some parts, but I just remember that being like the ultimate movie because like your dad is like, the coolest person in the world, and it really is fucking fascinating and scary and haunting. And so it was kind of like after watching that at that age, a lot of movies seemed like kind of lame, like I don't want to go watch a fucking Disney movie. I just watched
yeah, one of the greatest movies ever made.
And I also love I did some shrooms a couple nights ago, but before that I also did shrooms and watched 2001
Nice.
Space Odyssey. That's a great one to watch on shrooms because you're like, wait a second, did this guy in the 60s, this is how my brain worked on shrooms watching that movie, this guy in the 60s invented FaceTime. Why is he not getting credit for FaceTime? Because in that movie, it's like the astronauts are FaceTiming with their kids and shit. It's nuts. And then I like Dr. Strangelove and How I Learned to Love the Bomb.
Oh, full title. Bravo. Full title.
Yeah. Is that not the usual thing that you get?
Yeah, most people are just like, Dr. Strangelove. They don't, or How I Learned to Love the Bomb.
Easily confused with other movies when you say just Dr. Strangelove.
Not to me.
Yeah. I also love Citizen Kane is one of my favorite old movies. That's a classic.
I got a question about Full Metal Jacket for you. When your dad watched, you watched it with your dad for the first time, did he skip the violence or did he skip the like, oh, Mama-san, it's not too boku?
He only skipped the Asian hooker part.
Okay.
He really did. He skipped that part. And I'm glad because I wouldn't have understood it. And like I already was watching, like when I watched Wayne's World for the first time when I was a little kid, like I was quoting Cream of Some Young Guy running around the house not knowing what it meant. So I'm kind of glad because I definitely, as kids, me and a little boy and little girl, a brother and sister, we just would have been like, Mr. Honey, like running around the house all day like kids do. They repeat shit they hear in movies. So that was a good move. I didn't need to see that.
Me love you long time.
Yeah.
$10. Me love you long time.
Yes. Oh God, I forgot about those parts.
I just rewatched it recently.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So insane, right?
So insane. And the thing that Private Pilot was Vincent D'Onofrio from fucking now Law and Order.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that dude's career has been on a crazy, all over the fucking place.
Yeah, you're right. When I was a little girl, I had a crush on the guy at the end that was like, do you walk the walk? You could talk the talk. Do you know how to walk the walk? I don't know why. I had a crush on that guy. Like, I just thought he was attractive for some reason.
Are you talking about Animal Mother?
I think so. Yeah.
Who had to become 60 and they're like, oh, Animal Mother would be fine as long as people throw hand grenades at him for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's your type?
Always been into bad boys. It's real disease.
It's okay. Maybe this time in quarantine you'll have some reflection and you might outgrow it.
Totally. It's all good. I'm doing like my therapist actually has always done Skype sessions. She lives in like New Mexico and she does Skype sessions with all her clients. So we were like, not a problem. Gonna stay sane in this lockdown.
Nice. Yeah. I personally am like, maybe I'll sign up for some, teletherapy during all this too.
If you feel like you need it, or you feel like you're like on some patterns that aren't necessarily healthy or going to help you prepare for when this is over.
Oh, I mean, I was definitely on some unhealthy patterns before this. So I was like, I was actually trying to get in to start taking therapy like before this, and then like I signed up at a place that does reasonable therapy rates in LA, and they're like, oh, we have a waiting list.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, and
that's what always discouraged me in the past to always find therapy. It was just like, I'm not really like feeling, and it takes like something fucked up for you to be like, no, like we gotta have therapy now. Like that's what it does.
Well, and the point where I walked in there, I was definitely like, I need therapy now. And they're like, well, that's nice. Here's a waiting list.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks. And then they called me last week. They're like, hey, you're still on the waiting list. I'm like, it's been fucking 2 months.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I'm still on the waiting list. They're like, well, we're sending people up for teletherapy if you're still interested. I'm like, I mean, I probably still need it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not that bad.
I probably still need it because I'm probably almost guaranteed at this point, like the minute the quarantine's over, going to make some really poor dick choices.
Oh, then you should definitely wait till after you make the poor fun choices. Go live a little, celebrate.
I mean, no matter what someone tells me, I was probably going to do it anyways. But I need someone to like be the angel on my shoulder, being like, "No, Matt, the minute the bars reopen, you don't have to go get trashed and fuck the first person who's willing to."
That's funny. That's a great way to describe therapy, as like the angel on your shoulder. There's also it's like if I'm pretty good, don't really feel like anything bothering me or deep, we'll just do like an hour of business coaching, and she'll help me set up she's got a successful business. She's got like more Instagram followers than I even knew therapists could possibly have. So she's a good person to look into for business coaching. So she helps me get all that kind of in line as well.
Nice. So it's just like, well, we'll just get some free business advice today instead of mental health. That's
exactly.
Not bad at all. You're double dipping.
Ties into each other, to be honest with you. I think what you do for a living and like how you're making income is really affects every aspect of your life.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, I've worked jobs over the years that I fucking hated, that I was making decent money at, but it's fucking miserable because I fucking hated the job itself.
Like what?
Oh, when I was doing armed security.
Oh man, I can't imagine someone like you. You're so sweet. Why would you want to be that confrontational? To be like, oh, freeze.
I never wanted to be that confrontational. I needed the job in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah. Especially the early 2000s. That's like that's a lifetime ago.
Yeah, but I did the job for over 10 years.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, so like early 2000s, .com bubble burst, all that fun shit. I was a working computer professional in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh wow.
And .com bubble burst, I couldn't fucking find a job to save my goddamn life. One of my old bosses was working at an armored car company. He's like, hey, just come apply. It doesn't pay great, but you'll have health benefits and steady work. And I went, fuck it, why not? And for the first couple of years, though the job is dangerous, and I know people who have been fucking shot on the job, it was a lot of fucking fun. I mean,
good.
The inmates kind of ran the asylum. It was, we used to drag race trucks and shit like that. Like, you got a bunch of like, early to mid 20 somethings with guns and fucking irresponsibility at heart, just carrying millions of dollars every day.
That's pretty fun. That sounds like our military in a lot of ways too.
Well, you had a bunch of ex-military guys that were there too, and it was a good time for a while there, but it definitely stopped being at some point. And it's also like at some point where it's like, oh, I've been here so long, like, is this what I want for my life? Is this my career all of a sudden? Like, this was supposed to be a temporary job.
Right.
Like, I was going to take this job for 6 months before I found another computer job. 12 years later, I'm still fucking here.
Right. It slips away. It slips away. So what kind of jobs do you do on sets, on mainstream sets?
I mean, I'm just doing audio production these days. Like,
oh, that's great.
I'm actually producing some other podcasts for people these days, and like, producing some YouTube channels, and occasionally I'm still working on some porn sets here and there, doing some PA work, doing some non-sex roles. So I'm doing like the full-on LA hustle.
That's great. That's the best. That's the way to do it too. And it's going to keep you job secure. Like if you just had been locked. I mean, I don't want to imagine it. A lot of people are actually living it, but imagine if you just had the one computer programming job, 9 to 5, working for someone else, and then all of a sudden the shit hit. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know too many people that have normal jobs that are suffering right now. I know that my buddy Brother Love, who works on who directs for I know who did he just say? Team Ski, Porn Pros, all that. He was like, he's kind of out of work, Like he just hit me up today. I was like, fuck, dude, you're the first person I've really talked to that is just like kind of suffering.
A lot of people that are just on the production end of porn right now are definitely really suffering, because if you're not talent, is a Mike Quasar or Aiden Riley going to jump in front of a camera and start doing their own OnlyFans? They can't. Like,
No.
I mean, they could, but it's not what they do in this industry.
They'd have to pay performers for content.
And we have an FC, Free Speech Coalition moratorium right now on top of, LA being on lockdown. So if they were paying performers to do content, they're going to catch a lot of shit from the rest of the industry.
Yeah, I know.
Like the best case scenario is in those situations, like you have a performer who's not necessarily technically all that tech savvy and needs someone to edit their content for them. That's like your only income stream. Speaking of which, I need talent listening. You need an editor. I have time.
Oh, great. That's good to know. I've been doing a ton of my own shit just here and trying to go live as much as possible. I tried to go live last night. I've been going live like this whole quarantine every other night at 8 p.m. I even went on at 11 a.m. for the Euro fans,
Nice.
And but like I think it caught on because like all these girls that I know, everyone was like Friday night 8 p.m. Friday night 8 p.m. going live on my OnlyFans, and I was just like, y'all stole my idea. But like last night, no, I'm just joking. But last night it crashed. Like the live, I got on live and no one was coming into my room, and I normally have like how it is. Hello, John 369 Seahawk 5, like, and no one was coming through. I was like, what's going on? And then some of the fans were like messaging me like, hey, I can't get on. I think it's just overwhelmed right now. I was like, you know what? It's all good. Rock these customs and call it a night.
2 questions. First and foremost, how's that grapefruit?
I like it. I'm not a big like carbonated beverage. Like I never liked soda growing up or anything like that. So bubbles are kind of like, whew. As a matter of fact, it's so funny. My dog, I fed him, and then I gave him like a piece of steak, and he had just been eating. He ate his food, and then I hand him the piece of steak, and he's like, he puts it in his mouth, and then he burps as the steak's already in his mouth, so he takes it because the dog can't say no to steak.
Of course not.
And he's like, I was like, he just ate it. He ate his like dinner breath burp on the fucking steak.
See,
it's nuts.
It's that wolf evolution. They're like, oh, can't turn down steak. The human's feeding me steak. Can't turn this down. Nope.
It's pretty cool. I've become like a weird dog lady over the past week or two. I'm just like, my dog is fascinating. We're all getting to that point. Whether it's a house plant or an animal or even a bottle of fucking bourbon, you're just like, I love you. You're my best friend.
You've always been my best friend. Oh,
We're new friends. I don't know if we're going to be that good of friends. I did try it. I'll go hit up Chrissy Mayer, and her comedian that does the show with her is named Mike Figs. So they were like, grapefruit. I'm like, if a dude tells me to try grapefruit, I'm going to try the grapefruit.
yeah, I'm a bigger fan of the black cherry or the raspberry.
Ooh, okay. All right.
I mean, I'm not
You're not
literally.
a fan of White Claw, period. You're a man.
Well, literally, anytime a White Claw's entered my lips, there's been a woman involved trying to get me to drink it.
For sure. I was just listening to that episode of Sam Tripoli's podcast, and the guy's like, yeah, I just always got a bunch of White Claw because I like 25-year-old chicks to come over. So you gotta lure them in somehow. Can't be with my good looks and charm. So
I mean, that's why I'm looking forward to the summer, because everyone's eating so many carbs. This summer's all about personality. I'm going to clean up. Six packs are out. Personality's in.
Totally. I've let myself go a little bit, like more so than normal. I'm usually like chomping at the bit to like go to yoga or do the gym, because otherwise like my brain is just on overdrive. But if I run, I'm like, okay, I feel normal. I feel like evened out. So I've been trying to find other ways to just slow my brain down. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You start running, you're like, oh my God. And then one day you don't run, you're like, why am I so antsy? I'm just like, my brain is just like, the wheels are spinning too fast.
I need to get back into it, like whenever we're allowed back into like gyms and sit. But there was a point where like I was doing like 30 minutes of hour-long, just treadmill runs daily. And it's just like, put on music, just zone out.
Yes. 100%.
And unfortunately, like for me, working out in the gym situation is one of those things where like I have to be in the routine of it, because the minute I fall out of it, my natural lazy instincts kick in. I'm like, I'll just go tomorrow. Tomorrow.
The let's just go tomorrow excuse is the best.
Yeah.
It feels so good. Once you made that decision too, you're like, I'm going to go tomorrow. I'm going to sit here. You're just like, enjoy the day.
Exactly. Like, oh, hey, what's this on YouTube? Or what's this on Netflix? Or, oh, I got some stuff I got to edit. I'll and then like 3 weeks later, I haven't gone. I'm like, yeah, but meh, and just haven't gone back. So it's really one of those things where I tell myself, I'm like, I got to get back into it. I got to get back.
Now you can get away with that, but I can't get too fat, because that will change my whole brand, like my look, But I will say that when I gain a few pounds, it really does go to my boobs. Like, I know I'm I know it's amazing. Like when I lose weight, my tits become flat pancakes. And then when I gain a couple pounds, I'm like, this quarantine, I'm just sitting here taking boob face selfies and calling it a day. This is great. I love that my tits get bigger when I get fat, because I'm not mad about it. I'm actually taking.
No one's mad about it. No one's mad about it.
Sometimes self-care includes just like not stressing yourself out about going to the gym or yoga. So it's been nice to have that opportunity and just being like, you know what? I thought this was going to go to shit, but I'm liking what I see in the mirror sometimes.
Right. The tips are coming in. So yeah.
Yeah. The money hasn't gone down. That's great. Oh man. But yeah, I've been watching the last couple of days. Someone convinced me to watch the conspiracy theory documentaries that are all on YouTube now.
Fall Cabal?
Yeah. Did you watch it?
So, oh my God.
I'm dying to talk to someone about it.
We'll dive into this motherfucker right now. So let me give the backstory.
Well, real quick, I just watched it. I finished it like last night, and I got my dad, the former Marine, who's super fun and like he's supportive of my career. He's super into conspiracy theories. I remember, because they got that former Marine. Marines all kind of have like that kind of like, we know shit that nobody else knows, and this is bullshit. And so I remember that alien documentary on Netflix came out called Unacknowledged, and this is a good impression. I was telling my dad to go watch it. I was like, did you watch it? He's like, yeah. I was like, what do you think? He goes, didn't see anything I didn't already know. So, I'm good friends with my parents, both of them, and they both work for the city that they live in. So they're like 5 days on, 5 days off because they have to keep the people in the office working. So it's been fun to be able to just like bullshit with them all day, every day. Like, this is crazy, but they're really happy for me that I get to still, we're all making money still. We're all still like, our salaries haven't changed. So it's just been fun to be like, how'd you eat today? Like, that's been fun. Connecting with people, you know, getting to do podcasts like this that normally I would have been like putting everything off because you're so overwhelmed with what it takes to be out on the road. Like the day before, the day after, I can barely like tweet more than once a day. You know what I mean? Fuck, I got so much shit that I'm putting together and taking out and suitcasing and laundry. And
I know, I'm well aware. Like, as I said, for my audience, I've been trying to get Jayden to come do this show for a couple of years now.
Damn, that's right. The Sam Tripoli's filming was in March, and that's the last time. That was when I was at your place.
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, dude, 2 years to the date almost.
Yeah, it was like either March or April, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, I just sent my dad. I was like, Dad, episode 5 is not even on anymore, and I found it and I just sent it to him. But anyway, so you go ahead. Okay. Tell me your whole
my whole thing. So actually, the woman who's I went over to fix her audio last night texted me. She's like, "Hey, I got this doc you have to check out."
Did she really?
Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll check it out.
I want to watch Guys and Dolls and the Fall of Cabal.
Well, that was weeks ago, and
okay.
I mean, she's a friend, but there were points where it's like, well, if it escalated beyond friendship, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Anytime you ask a dude to watch Guys and Dolls with you, I think there's a little bit of like, I don't want to just like, like if her hand grazed against yours during Guys and Dolls, I don't feel like she'd be mad about it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Play it cool, buddy. Play it cool. Text me before.
I will. But so I start watching it, and I'm open-minded about shit. But I'm not nearly Sam's level of conspiracy theory. Like, for the audience, if you go back to when Sam was on the show, I gave him some shit about some of his conspiracy theories while he was on air.
Which ones?
Oh, I think I flat out like, Sam, you don't think the Earth's flat, right? Come on, man.
Yeah, that's one that I don't understand either.
Like, we've all been in planes. We can see the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, it's scientifically proven otherwise.
Right. So, and I start watching Fall Cabal, and it's like, for the audience who has not watched it, it's on YouTube. The 5th part you have to go find because it's very Pizzagate heavy, and I'm pretty sure that's why YouTube banned it.
Yes, for sure.
The first thing I know is like, wow, they are throwing like every major conspiracy theory minus flat Earth under one fucking umbrella.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm like, okay, we'll go with it. We'll go with it. And I'm just taking notes. And I noticed that in the early episodes, it's a little pro-Trump. And I'm like, okay, that's a little odd.
Yeah, I try to take it with a grain of salt and really think about this. Like, is this pro-Trump or is this just like anti-cabal, like in a way that, I don't know, like some parts I was like, oh, this is a little pro-Trumpish more than I thought. But then other times I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense. So it's just sort of like, I always feel like it's somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Well, there's definitely some things that are misrepresented. Like the first thing I caught was they're like, Donald Trump was the only president to ever not take his salary. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Both Hoover and JFK did not take their salaries.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Right. Like as I'm watching this, I'm taking notes, and like things that I knew off the top of my head, I was confirming my bias. Like, because there's just some factoids. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Trump was not the first president to not take his salary. So Google, it's like, oh, nope, both Hoover and JFK were on record for not taking their salaries.
I don't like lies like that.
Right. And then the problem is when I catch stuff like that, it automatically makes me skeptical of every other information that they're presenting.
It's like when someone lies about something little, you're like, oh, I don't know what else you're lying about. Now I don't know because you just so casually threw that lie out there like I wasn't going to fact check that. And that's the thing. My friends that convinced me to watch Tiger King were the same ones that convinced me to do the Fall Cabal one. And I honestly was just like, I can't really get past the like early 2000s graphics along with like the fucking like shocked baby face. Like, what? Is this for real?
Well,
Like, what is this? Like, this amount of stock photos used after they revealed something shocking. I was like,
well, half of it feels like just art criticism.
yeah, I know, right?
Like,
Well, it sounds like this is made by a deeply troubled, traumatized young woman's cry for help. I'm like, not always.
I mean, even if it absolutely is, that doesn't mean there's some grand conspiracy about it. Shitty things happen to people. It might come out in their art.
100%. It was deeply, you're right. That's a really good way to put it. It's very critical of art. But I also am like, why the fuck was that piece of shop owner in with the DC elite? Like, that's weird.
Well, we'll get to the Pizzagate end of it. Like, I was watching, I'm like, okay, so they do present spins on some things that are very questionable. And that's where it's a good job of trying to make their spin for everything else. It's like, well, if you do research this part of it, yeah, they're fairly accurate on some of the things. But the strands that they take to connect that thing to other things, that's where it becomes flimsy.
Yes.
So, like, one of the things, especially in part 5, first and foremost, I'll just put this out there. I think Pizzagate is absolute bullshit.
Really?
Okay, we'll go with the fact that there is no basement in that pizza place.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's not even a fucking basement there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How did you know that?
Well, first and foremost, DC is built on a swamp. Most buildings don't have basements, period.
Right.
And I believe the blueprints are like public knowledge. Like, you could get the blueprints online.
Right.
There's just no basement in the building.
Yeah, now that I think about it, DC is in that weird in-between spot where it's like, it's coastal, but it's in between the South and the East Coast, which are two very different spots. So I don't understand anything like this, but like, that's a really good piece of information.
Well, and on top of it, like the Fall Cabal bit on part 5, do you remember the part where they're pulling out like the owner's questionable Instagram posts?
Yes.
So if you watch it, like the first 2 or 3 questionable, and like they're just in poor taste. His posts are in, from that point, like after 2 or 3 of them, without saying anything, they are showing pictures of a different person's Instagram account.
I thought that was weird.
And I went into that dude's Instagram. That dude is, the second account is like some gay activist in DC who just was tagging the pizzeria at events and shit. He doesn't work there. He has no ownership stake in the place. And the way they presented it just seemed like it was a misrepresentation.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was just like, these are just questionable spins.
Yeah. That's why I had to mix that in with the fucking stock photos in the early 2000s graphics. I was like, this is cute.
Right. And like the thing about it is like every article they post, if you Google any of those websites, are all, conspiracy theory websites.
Right.
So of course they're going to have confirmation bias on what you already want to know. It's like, if this is science or if this is reputable media, it's going to be covered by multiple sources.
Mm-hmm.
Like, science works in peer review. Reputable media works in peer review. I mean, it's shitty in this day and age how media works because everyone's rushing to get that clickbait. So a lot of shit's not fucking researched. But at the end of the day, I am skeptical of anything covered by one source.
Yes.
Like, especially something that is so sensationalized as any of the conspiracies covered in the Fall Cabal, that it's only covered by one fucking source.
Yeah.
You should be skeptical of that.
I just felt like I wanted more, everything that she was saying throughout the documentary, I wanted like receipts. I wanted to see like, how did you get this information?
Right. Well, and
why are you contradicting this information, this piece about so-and-so, when like, how did you get that information? Was that a reliable source? Or was that some like conspiracy theorist on a tangent who accidentally took like too much Adderall that day and just started writing shit that made sense to their brain at the time and then fit the narrative that that person seeking the info was looking for.
Oh, exactly. And it's kind of a shady thing that they do in the beginning of the series. Is like, well, do your own research, make up your own mind. How many Americans are too fucking lazy to do that?
All of us.
Not me. I mean, I literally took notes and started researching stuff like during it.
Yeah, no, I actually took notes too. I took more notes of like I documented or I opened up tabs to look up like Dr. Dean Lorick, Fiona Barnett, Cannibal Club Los Angeles, Richard Kerr.
Oh, let's touch on the Cannibal Club. The Cannibal Club, that is 100% fiction.
Like, what the fuck? Like, anyone could write a website like that, but
right.
like...
It 100% is fiction. Like, it's just fucking fiction. Like, I have my notes in front of me, like, in part 2, the Fed wasn't established, so they make a whole point of, like, saying that Lincoln was assassinated for going against the Fed. The Fed wasn't established till 1913.
Oh, my God.
Which they even say later in the same episode.
Right.
Like, are you not paying attention to the information that they're presenting to you? Like,
interesting. And I get where someone like Sam Tripoli's coming from, because like he's genuinely coming from a place where he just doesn't want to see children hurt.
Well, I certainly don't want to
appreciate that. So I'm open-minded to that thing.
Right. I'm open-minded too. I don't want to see children hurt, but I think one of the things that it's been a couple of years since I had Sam on the show. One of the things I confronted him about is like, hey, Sam, you're putting all this time and energy into exposing these conspiracies, but what are you actually doing about it?
Right.
Like
I guess in someone's mind, that's like a comedian and a podcast host of a pretty cool podcast. I like Tinfoil Hat. It's actually one of my favorite intro songs. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. No, and like, it's no knocking at Sam. I love Sam. Like, he's my friend. But at the end of the day, it was just like, hey, man, like, and it's part of his brand now. I'm not trying to knock his money, his income and his money and all that shit. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not going to lose sleep. Even if this shit was all 100% true, I'm not going to lose sleep over something that I have no control over.
Right. There's only so much like someone like you or I could do. Right.
And that's the thing. It's like, Sam, why are you getting so worked up about something that you're not prepared to do anything about?
That's true, but I think he gets worked up to get other people more aware and a little bit less like, oh, I don't want to know, like a little bit less. So I understand what that purpose is, to have a podcast, to talk about it, to talk about how angry it makes you. I could see the benefit to that for sure.
It's just my thought process on like, it feels like impotent rage. It's like, I'm so angry about this, but there's nothing I can do about it, nothing I'm willing to do about it. Like,
yeah,
as fucked up as it was, the guy who stormed Comet Ping Pong with a gun to try to save those children, that guy at least had the fucking conviction to try to save those children.
Yeah, that guy that's a whack job for sure.
No, 100% that dude's a whack job.
Mass shooter status.
I'm not condoning that the dude rolled in there with a gun to save the children, but at least in his head, he's like, I'm going to do something about this.
Right. For sure.
Like, I support the thought process. Not the thought process, but I support the idea if I don't support the actual like execution of his idea.
For sure. I also found it interesting, like the part about Chris Cornell and
Chester Bennington.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I thought that made all the sense. Super strange that they were about to come out with that documentary, and of course it went to like, who knows. And then Corey Feldman. I'm surprised they didn't mention him, because Corey Feldman was someone that, like, I don't know, when I first got to LA, I definitely just brushed off someone like Corey Feldman as kind of a whack job. All former child stars have got to be like super mentally unstable. And I do believe that, but maybe Corey's right. Maybe they did pass him around and sexually harass him and the other Corey Haim. You know what I mean?
Well, it entirely could be true. But the problem is, I didn't watch Corey's most recent movie, but everyone I know who has seen it's like, he didn't reveal anything about himself.
Really? So I haven't watched it yet, but I was going to, because I'm into documentaries anyway.
Right. But that's the thing, like, if you have all this conviction, why are you not confessing about, talking about your own personal experiences? Why are you only talking about your dead friends' experiences?
Oh, is that what he did?
From what I was told.
He doesn't get into it?
He doesn't get into his own stuff.
Interesting. I didn't watch it yet. I'm going to watch it tonight. Yeah, the naked boy jumping from Buckingham Palace. I Googled that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember that part of it. I didn't Google that one.
Oh my God. I haven't really looked into it. I just kind of saved it on my Google search because I was like, dude, I'd love to see what that's about. And then this psychopath called Jimmy Savile, this weirdo. It sucks that like certain people just look so crazy. Like, who's that British politician that's super wacky that has like the hair?
Are you talking about Nigel?
I think so. He's got
the current prime minister?
Yeah. Yeah, he's super wacky. Then there was this other guy called Sir James Wilson Vincent Saville, and he was like apparently like a DJ, and he's just so fucking wacky looking. I mean, if you're trying to sell the fact that these people are fucked up, like they play the part. It's kind of like Trump. It's like he plays the part of someone you just want to hate. He plays the part of that like rich old white guy that knows so much more than you. And I'm not into news. I'm kind of shut out from it. After like 2015, I thought shit got nuts. And so I'm really not into watching the news. I don't like TV. I do like talking to people and having conversations about the information that they've gathered, because that to me is the best way to discuss and learn information, just to hear what people have to say about it. So I haven't been really watching the news. I try not to. I definitely put my earmuffs and blinders on when it comes to stuff.
It's so hard to do that these days. Bravo that you're able to pull that off.
I definitely have like a gift when it comes to self-control, when it comes to that, when it comes to even, and therapy helps. Like my therapist is definitely like, hey, if you ever get tempted to look at your ex-boyfriend's Twitter, just text me and I'll make sure that you make the right, you know what I mean? Like stuff that's just not going to make you feel good. And news is a big part of that. So to me, it's important to keep that media stuff out of my brain because it does feel like brain pollution.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Taking up space in my hard drive that could be used for like, useless animal information, which brings me joy.
Exactly. I mean, it's all in all politics wise. And like American life these days is so fucking polarizing on either fucking side.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense to me. I identify as a grateful American, horse girl energy all the way. Maybe I should bless you with some of this horse girl energy. Then you'll be like, I don't care what's going on in the world. I just care about my ponies and my puppies.
Wait a minute, are you trying to turn me out into a brony? Is that what you're trying to do during this quarantine? Is that what you're trying to do, Jayden?
Someone's hung out with some horse girls. You don't know the term brony unless you've come over to the side. You definitely like, that's like guys who try to get pussy from horse girls. Like they know that term brony.
I mean, I'm a fairly big dude. Maybe someone's trying to throw a saddle on me before. I'll play the fifth.
Ow! That's great. That's so great.
But
so, yeah.
America's just fucking polarized no matter what side you swing. And like, the way I try to look at everything is like, hey, assholes, we're all Americans. We should all be wanting what benefits Americans the most. Not the richest Americans, not the poorest Americans, but Americans. What benefits the majority of us, which, to be honest, in current American society, does benefit the poorest of us because that's the majority of us.
I agree. I'm so grateful to be in America. I just feel like even when we're poor, we're someone like you or me is having a bad month, I still think it's fucking great. I really do. I think this country's great. I love that I can just do whatever I want. I own my own home. I can fucking work on my own hours. I can go drive across the country, go visit my parents, and no one says anything about, like, it just seems like, especially as a woman, I'm like, dude, I can do anything. I can fucking, it was my mom's generation could barely work outside of being a teacher or a nurse and couldn't own their own properties and shit. So I'm definitely like super grateful. Like, how cool is it that we get to be on Zoom and talk and create content for people to enjoy and connect to.
What's still fucked up is like you as a sex worker still have to deal with a ton of stigmas out there.
True story. That's definitely true story, but it's still on my terms.
It
like
is.
I have friends that are gay or black, and they suffer so much because it's, I guess when you're gay or a sex worker, like you only get discriminated against if they know what you do.
For sure.
You know? So I can easily be like, I'm a fucking yoga instructor, and then I don't get, I don't want to lie, but do I want to be a liar? No. Do I want to get sexually harassed in an Uber or in a restaurant? Bigger no. So sometimes I got to bust out the lie just to keep the peace.
Self-preservation.
Yeah, self-preservation. People think that they know something about your own personal sexuality when they find out you're a sex worker. So then you're like, no, you don't get anything about me. I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's annoying,
But in the casual situation, like, I see absolutely nothing wrong with you telling a complete stranger of like, no, you don't get to know that shit. Now, I do take some objection with like people that are sex workers that potential partners that they aren't honest with. But I also understand
that's a whole other.
But I also understand where they're potentially coming from initially. It's like, it's a double-edged sword.
If you're letting someone into your life, like, you should always be honest about everything. I can't stand little white lies. That's the extent of it. If I'm just like meeting my mom's friends at one of her neighbors at bingo one night, I'm usually just going to say I'm a yoga instructor because they're like 70-year-old snowbirds who are conservative, and they lived in a time where women couldn't do anything but be a nurse or a teacher. So I'd love to just keep.
If you were a sex worker in those times, you were the bottom of the barrel.
Oh my God, I know. We get all this benefits now. So it's like different time.
I mean, it's still shitty. Like, I was discussing this with someone earlier on Twitter, but it's like, people were bitching about the fact that sex worker operations are not eligible for the SBA loan as part of the stimulus package. And I pointed out, I'm like, that's actually a long-standing SBA policy. It's not new. It's not like this administration put that in place. That's long-standing.
It's not like 20 years ago we would have had it a lot worse.
Right.
So this is not a new thing.
It's honestly something that we as the sex work industry should have been fighting a long time ago before it was like, oh, hey, this is an emergency. We need that money. Fuck, now we got to fight this?
Right.
But hindsight's 20/20.
Absolutely. I hear a lot of guys, like, you listen to comedians, I've heard them be like, well, why don't girls just take the word slut back? Why don't they do that? I'm like, well, let me break this down for you. The last time I was in a relationship I got broken up with, one of the things he said in the unnecessarily long breakup email he sent me was, I can't believe that you had a magazine cover that you were on framed in your office that referred to you as slut. And he took it out of context. It was the Penthouse, Girls of Penthouse, the supplemental like magazine with hardcore photos only, no articles. And it said, Jayden Cole, redheaded slut, like a play on words from The Shot. And I thought it was genius. I used to be a bartender when I became a Penthouse Pet. I was like, this is great. And like for him to say that, and I'm like, this affected my life in a lot of different ways. So that's why we don't take that word slut back, because for all of human history, everything about a woman's lifestyle was based on what kind of man she could land, what he could provide for her. Everything from her home to her food to her kids, everything depended on the kind of man she could land. And men want something all to themselves. They typically are programmed to want to fuck as many virgins as possible,
which is the worst plan ever. I don't want a bunch of boring starfish in my life.
We've gotten to that point now, but I'm saying like genetically, like we're predispositioned to, like we can't go around. And like also human beings, we're pack animals. We want acceptance from people like us. And so women take the opportunity to shame a girl who's promiscuous to prove their worth and that they're more worthy historically.
Oh, and I agree.
Talking shit about a girl who's a slut is fun for men and women and older people. It makes everybody feel good. It gives everybody an opportunity to virtue signal. So
I mean, it gives me an opportunity to try to give her my number, but
that too. It's like you can't talk. You can't like be like, oh, why is there shame with girls having sex? I'm like, have you looked at human history? Like, this is the first time in any generation that we've actually been safe enough to pursue this publicly and not be like walk down the street going shame, shame.
Well, and I totally get it in like biblical and puritanical times of looking down on promiscuous women, looking down on prostitution, because in those days, you caught an STD, you fucking died.
You fucking died, and men wanted to know that the baby that their woman was having was theirs.
Exactly.
Before birth control and stuff like that. So it comes from a lot of places. There's a lot of places, and
And as advanced as we are as a society now, we are still rooted in crazy old traditions from people who did not have indoor plumbing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Even like we're all like kind of, I think this generation is the first one that looked at like the Constitution even of America going like, these fucking rich white slave owners like made this shit up and we're supposed to like listen to them now, even though we've technologically advanced light years ahead of that time.
They didn't have indoor plumbing either.
They didn't have indoor plumbing, and we're going to listen to them tell us what to do about, like, when you say like, I'm not saying I would never want freedom of speech to be suppressed in any way, but all the things that they say in the Constitution, think about not having electricity or plumbing and coming up with this shit. And you got to be like top of the society to even have these ideas and to be like, implement these ideas for the rest of this country's existence.
Right. Like, think about syphilis being a death sentence. And that's the type of people that wrote our Constitution.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, we're going to like judge a fucking hooker because there was no condoms. There's STDs would kill you. Like, of course.
Right. And having a child out of wedlock is a massive, massive problem. There's no abortions. There's no plan B.
Oh my God. I know. I mean, what would you have done like back in that day? Like, it was only like a generation ago that was completely not acceptable.
Right. I mean, hell, what, the pill was invented in the 60s, our parents' generation?
Yeah. Like, I have a friend who grew up in PA in like the 70s and 80s, and her parents were divorced. Just her parents were divorced. And she felt like she grew up with a scarlet letter across her forehead because that's how she was treated, just for having divorced parents.
Right. And it wasn't until like our parents' generation were like, oh no, it's 50% because that's actual human. Now the society's not going to fucking ruin you for it. Oh yeah. The real humanity is like, well, I may have gotten involved with a shitty person and had a kid with them. Maybe I want out.
Like, our dads all got abused. They all have given us stories about like getting the belt. It's like, yeah, because those guys couldn't get out of the situation that they didn't know they were getting themselves into. They had 4 kids by the time they were 28, had to work a 9-to-5 that they didn't like, come home. Yeah, they're going to be a little tense.
Right. And their parents' generation, in a lot of cases, as us Americans, came over from, famine in Europe. And probably multiple siblings dying at young ages due to disease or famine or just the trek to America. So they saw some shit. They were traumatized as fuck. They had no coping mechanisms. And hey, I know now, I am a couple years older than I was when my father had me. It's like, oh, I don't have my shit together.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
To think my parents like had any fucking answers when they had me. Like, no. They were in their early 30s. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Right.
And they also had to like work. And I'm looking at my mom like, I'm like, you had 2 kids by the time you were my age. I'm like, so you just didn't want any time for yourself ever throughout the day?
But I think part of that is all our grandparents' generation or the great-grandparents' generation where it's like, oh, but all your goal in life is to make enough income to survive and then start pumping out children. I mean, that's all like my grandparents are encouraged. Was like, oh, get a job working in the trades. You'll always have work. Meet a nice girl and have kids.
And you're like, and then I'm just supposed to what, die?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I think that a lot of people didn't have the opportunities. Like in smaller towns, I feel like they would get pregnant. Like, I lived in Southern California growing up, and then we moved to Georgia when I was like 13. like South Georgia. And I remember getting to middle school, and we were just getting in middle school in California. We were just like having a blast. Everything was great. It was a California distinguished school. We all couldn't wait to go to high school. They had like amazing lunch, like Pizza Hut was at lunch, Taco Bell was at our school. And then I moved to Georgia, and it's like, you're a prisoner. There's no quad that you get to go out. Like, you know, they have a quad in Southern California schools. In Georgia, it was like, you're a prisoner, and like, try to get pregnant because that's the only joy that you will feel. It's the only time serotonin is going to be flowing through your brain unless you're doing drugs. It seemed that way. I was like, oh, you guys just don't know how much fun it is to have like a good mall in your town. Like,
oh yeah, I mean it's just weird. I was in Montana
everyone
working.
Everyone was pregnant by 9th grade. I was like, dude, we were just getting to like the hugging, kissing phase in California at this age.
But that's your lot in life, you know. Pump out some children, have a good family, and blah blah blah.
Sad. It just made me sad that like that was the only thing that they thought they could get a real like high or a, you know.
It was their purpose in life to, you know, make more people.
Yeah.
Newsflash, we have too many fucking people as is.
How fascinating. I'm glad you brought that up, because how fascinating is it that we're still operating on caveman software when we are like hundreds and thousands of years past that? That blows my mind.
Hell, even if you go back to our great grandparents or our great great grandparents generation, like, yeah, they had 9 kids because they were going to lose half of them.
Exactly. It's so true. We're like, why the fuck were you just like busting nuts inside of grandma this whole time? Like, every time we did that, you had a fucking human being. It blows my mind. But what's weird to me is that we haven't really evolved. And I always think that like I don't know if women are just trying to have babies later in life. And like in your 30s, you were like a senior citizen 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So now that women are trying to have babies in what has historically been the senior citizen age of human beings, is that why we are having a harder time women are having a harder time getting pregnant when they want to? Or is it that we're all just kind of evolving?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's more women are in the workforce. More women are pursuing their careers. They're putting their careers in their lives before just having children. A lot of us, you know, a lot of women, a lot of just people in general came from shitty family situations, and they acknowledge that now. It's not like, this is just how life is. You know,
right.
They're like, well, do I really want to have kids? Like,
is that really going to make me happy?
Right. Like, my parents didn't seem particularly happy.
Right. I mean, to me, I've never really wanted kids, but I understand that as a woman, like, we have certain hormones that are released during sex, pregnancy, childbirth that are amazing, that are totally like very loving and all that stuff. But if you're aware that it's just a chemical reaction and your true happiness lies in your daily activities, how your day goes, the little things in life are, to me, what makes the bigger picture.
Definitely. But I can admit, like, even from, like, you know, because love is just trick of brain chemistry also.
I agree.
And at the end of the day, when you're in that trick of brain chemistry, it feels like all there is. So I could totally see falling victim to the other brain chemicals tricking you into, oh yeah, I got to make a little person. I got to, you know.
It'd be the greatest joy in my life.
Right.
But I don't think that your life would be joyful necessarily.
Oh, 100. I mean, I never want children. Never.
I'm getting to the age now where people are like, are you sure you didn't want them, or did that just not happen?
You should be like,
I was like, no, I've genuinely never wanted kids, and anyone that knows me knows that. But like explaining it to new people, I'm like, this is kind of weird. Now they're probably just like, sure, girl. I was like, no, I can freeze my eggs. Like, I can do that, but I choose not to because I know that that's just not the kind of life that I would want. All my life, I was like, why would someone choose to have to go back to an elementary school 5 days a week, get up at 6 a.m.? Like, I've done it with friends, and I'm like, this sucks. Like, I want my time.
Yeah. And I have admitted that, like, if I ever became, like, actually wealthy, I would actually consider children.
Mm-hmm. I know, right?
Because it's one of those things where, like, I don't hate kids, but I'm also selfish enough where I'm not looking to make sacrifices for them.
Precisely. I'm on board. Like, I love kids. I love being around them. I love playing tricks with them, but it's sort of like I become them. I'm not interested in being the disciplinarian. I'm not interested in destroying my body. Just because your body is capable of recovering from a car accident doesn't mean you should put it through a car accident.
Right.
And like deprive yourself of sleep as an adult is like the worst. Like, people do that and they're like, I feel all this joy, so it's worth it. But I'm like, but I know you'd have been fine if you didn't.
Right. In all honesty, the only thing that absolutely worries me about like not being a parent, not having children, is like when you get to that advanced, if I make it to that advanced stage in life, which who knows if I'll even make it, is like, oh fuck, if I get to a point where I'm never able to if I'm to a point where I can't take care of myself, what then? Like, that's the only thing that possibly worries me. But the reality of the situation is like, I'm pretty convinced that I would be a really shit father. And there's a pretty good chance that if I did have kids, by the time it was time for me to go to the home, they wouldn't want shit to do with me anyways. I'd still be on my fucking own. And then I would have given up all that shit for the same fucking results.
That's a great theory. I just think my theory is I've never wanted kids. If I had a kid, I'd be an incredibly wonderful mother, but I would be miserable and unfulfilled.
But then you wouldn't be a wonderful mother, because no matter how much you may love your child, that resentment's going to eventually bleed through.
For sure, dude. For sure. And I love nature. I'm obviously close to my parents and my brother, my family. So I feel constantly surrounded by genuine love and people that care about me. So that part of me is very much fulfilled. Like, I have a pretty decent sized family, enough people that I always feel like understood and cared about and connected to. So that's just not in the cards for me. And they're so supportive of that. But also because I grew up, I don't know how this was for you, not wanting children, but my parents had a lot of friends that were married couples without kids, which was probably pretty not normal for that time period, because it wasn't until recently, I think, that not having kids was the new thing. But they didn't, and they would have, like, our neighbors had like a third car, a convertible, just for two people, and a boat that we used to go out on the weekends. And my brother and I would be like, hey, Mom and Dad, where's your boat? And they'd look at us like, you are our boat.
Exactly. Just like every other boat, you're a black hole for money that's never going to be rewarding.
Exactly. You guys are a money pit.
So,
it's so true.
On my mom's side of the family, there's my mom and her two brothers. The middle son has been married since the 70s. They have no kids. They're the most financially successful of everyone in the family. Like,
word up. Telling you.
They retired in their mid-50s. They live in Red Rock in fucking Vegas, actually.
Oh, okay.
Like, they have a home in Red Rock in the fucking reserve.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that's dope.
Yeah. They're out there like, oh, yeah, we just go RVing with our Jeep and, go enjoy nature, and we hike all the time. Like,
that's so the kind of life I want to live. Like, everyone that I looked up to as a child, the adults that I looked up to were the people that had that kind of freedom. They were like the people with, like, that were 40 years old running marathons, and like my parents' friends that had the boat and they were going jet skiing every weekend. I'm like, that's how I want to live.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that, like, my uncle had a Ferrari he used to just drive on Sundays.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Like, this is my, classic Ferrari I drive on Sundays. Like, okay.
Yes. I'm familiar with the Sunday car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my other uncle, pretty well to do also with, two kids, but it's not quite the same on the level of well to do.
Right. I mean, I know when I came around when I was little, my dad had a Corvette, like his extra car. And on Sundays we'd go for drives around like Sycamore Canyon in Ventura County. And we have like videos of it because I'd be holding the camera. It was super fun. Then when my brother was born, my mom stopped working. And then the boats went away and the third cars. And I was just like, who the fuck is this?
Right. You ruined everything.
Yeah. Oh, my brother's such a good guy. We joke about that kind of shit all the time. But I'm already fulfilled in that way. I get why people want to have kids, but I don't think it makes sense in today's society if you're on the fence about it.
No, Exactly. And the thing about it is, like, as a dude, it's a lot of women look at it as a deal breaker where I'm just like, no, I don't want children. Like, it's not a, maybe I'll want kids one day. It's like, no, I don't want kids. So there's plenty of women who are just like, nope, out. They just see it as
wow.
well, they see it as like maybe a sign of immaturity. They may see it like, oh, this dude, I don't know. I haven't examined every potential partner who's just like, nah, you don't want kids, I'm out.
I bet they just probably, it's not that maybe it was too soon to see a future with you, but they want to feel like there's potential. Like, women don't want to feel like they're wasting their time with someone they're just never going to see in 6 months. They kind of want to have the fantasy of like, maybe potentially this could lead, we could be in each other's lives down the line.
Right.
And once you say that, maybe that's a deal breaker. I'm the opposite. If you say you want kids, that's a deal breaker. I'm just like, you should just get out of this now, because
right.
I'm not going on birth control, and I'm also not letting you come inside me. Basically.
Well, I mean, the not coming inside you is a deal breaker. Oh my God. Just what?
I mean,
what's wrong with you? That feels great for everybody involved.
I don't date that often. I date once every few years. And when it comes up again every few years, I'm just like, oh, I'm not destroying my body with false hormones just so you can nut where you want.
Hey, those false hormones give you bigger boobs.
But so does food. So do snacks.
Do both. Do both. They could be massive.
I'm just like really happy with the way my snacking and not working out has been working out for my boobs lately. So I'm just going to stick to that.
Hey, whatever makes you happy. I'm not here to, shit on your parade.
Speaking of which, so back to the fall cabal.
Oh, you want to get back there, huh?
Horrible segue, but I did have one more thing I wanted to ask.
It's okay. You're not hosting this. You can have horrible segues.
Okay, great. So, what do you think about Hillary Clinton?
Okay, I think the Clinton Foundation is corrupt as fuck. Don't get me wrong on there. I don't think they're innocent people. I also don't think they're murdering fucking everybody that ever has a nasty thing to say about them. There was the whole bit about the missionary in Haiti who tried to smuggle a bunch of kids across the border to the DR during the fall cabal, and like this dude who was a wanted criminal just popped up to represent them, and it's fucking utterly bizarre. I will admit it's utterly bizarre, but there's no reputable source that ties him to the Clintons.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Yes. Oh, girl who tried to smuggle 25 kids across the fucking border, did some fundraising for Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
But every, legitimate, I can't call it legitimate, but, every mainstream article I found about her is, she just didn't follow rules when it suited her, period. Her ministry up in Idaho just didn't pay people. So this is the kind of entitled person who, of course, I don't have to actually follow the rules when I'm taking these kids to fucking the Dominican Republic. Because as far as I can tell, it wasn't for child sex trafficking. It was just I feel like I'm doing the right thing. I don't have to follow the fucking rules.
Right. I could see that too. That was interesting. I think that, I think they've been corrupt for a long time. I know when my dad and I were talking about this last night, he was like, "Oh, can you just imagine what Hillary did to the women that were raped or harassed by Bill Clinton?" My dad's she was like, "Boom, you're gone. Boom, you're gone. Boom, you're gone." So I don't know. Who knows? But I do think it's corrupt.
Okay. Monica's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Monica Lewinsky's still alive. If Crossing the Clintons got you murdered, Monica would not be alive.
For sure. She's the first one. I think Monica's someone who kind of slipped through the cracks, maybe in some way. I feel like she actually got off easy compared to some of the other women. I'm sure they were threatened or something like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, she definitely has. Her life has definitely been turned upside down from sucking one dick. Could you imagine sucking one dick, making you famous, and then fucking turning your world upside down?
Oh, my heart goes out to her. I think she's actually awesome and incredibly brave and a good example for women that just because someone takes something from you, like a moment from you, or judges you on that, especially the whole world, doesn't mean you can't have the confidence to show your face and talk about how much that hurt, because that makes you relatable as a human being.
Right.
You know, so I feel good things for Monica.
Do you think the Monica situation was like an actual consensual act, or do you feel it was like a abuse of power on Clinton's part?
Oh, for sure, an abuse of power. Like, no 19-year-old girl is going to be like, "Hey, hottie, you're so sexy. That silver, that bulb red nose of yours just really makes me want to suck things." Like, there's no way. But like, definitely, like, I think that's always a part of it, a little bit, but not like a fucking. Not. I don't think it was like an abusive situation. I don't think he was a Harvey Weinstein that's like, "No, come here. No, come here. No, come here." Like, I don't think he was like that.
Yeah. So one of the other projects I'm actually working on these days is like I'm producing a podcast for one of Weinstein's survivors.
What?
One of Weinstein's survivors.
No way.
And
Incredible.
we've had a bunch of other of his, other survivors on and other sexual assault survivors on, and hearing these stories, it's just like, ugh, fucking
terrible, right?
Yeah, it's terrible. It's super so it's real interesting for me at this point, hearing all these stories about like Weinstein and other abusers, like looking at the Monica situation in another light, because when it happened in the 90s, I was a fucking kid, and then
exactly, you didn't understand anything about it. I'm sure.
As far as I was like, oh, hey, that girl sucked the president's dick. He stuck a cigar inside her. Okay.
Yeah.
There was never I was never in a powerful situation, so I never understood the power dynamics of oh, hey, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job and my career if I don't do this. Exactly.
I definitely think that's I guess I just didn't mean aggressive physically. You know what I mean? I definitely don't see Bill Clinton being as aggressive physically as Weinstein was. Weinstein's like a fucking Jew from Queens. He's powerful as fuck. He knows what you want. With Weinstein, it was sort of he's capitalizing on girls who really would, at their mind, they're like, I'm going to do anything to get a role or something. This is what I came out here to LA and moved from Omaha because I was, the prom queen in Omaha.
Hearing some of these other stories of Harvey, he didn't even care that much. There's some of the other survivors who have told their stories or talked about it on the show I'm producing. It's just one of the guests was told her Weinstein story on air. I'll text you the link afterwards, but he made an advance on her and she's just I'm good. And then he kind of cornered her in the basement of a restaurant in New York, in the kitchen. And when she shot him down, he wouldn't let her pass. And then she just went to somebody who's like, will you just shut up and just start jerking off in front of her?
Yeah.
Didn't even care that he's a fucked human being.
Yeah, he's a monster. I actually just finished Roman Polanski's podcast, live from France. Not allowed back here, but I love him. No, Ronan Farrow's podcast. I read his book, or I did the audiobook thing and his podcast, and I just think Ronan Farrow is gorgeous. I'm not
what Sinatra's supposed son? Oh no.
Have you ever seen the side-by-side comparisons between Sinatra and Ronan? Oh
yeah.
They're both dreamy. I don't even like guys that are pretty, blonde hair, blue eye guys, are not my thing at all. And so, but I like scruffy, dark Jewish dudes. But
thank you.
Of course,
blushing a little.
You run the world. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm
we do
undeniably a beautiful human. He's a good looking person, and what he's done is so amazing. And I'm just oh, Ronan, you're such a stud. And listening to his book, he talks about the struggles that he was having NBC even greenlight his story and how stressed out he was. He was losing sleep. He's I was a mess. And then I saw a picture of him after I read the book, and I was like, you a mess? Please. I don't even believe it. You're beautiful, son. He's so pretty.
Well, he's grown up in such a weird situation too.
Right. Definitely. And like, what a stud afterwards. Like recently, the same publisher wanted to publish Woody Harrelson. You can tell I'm very in tune to Hollywood names, news. But
I just feel like the one White Claw has fucked you up royal that you're so drunk.
White girl wasted.
Woo!
But yeah, Woody Allen, I guess, did you hear about this? He was trying to publish his book on the same publisher as Ronan Farrow. And Ronan's like, I can't believe this. This is so degrading. And so the publisher, everyone that worked there staged a walkout and a protest. Like you can't publish Ronan Farrow's book and then publish Woody Allen, whatever the fuck his name is. Like you just can't do that. And they didn't. They actually turned it down eventually.
Well, good on them. I got a question for you. What is your opinion on the divorce or the potential divorce between people that have made amazing art that are predators? Like Harvey Weinstein produced everything Quentin Tarantino ever did up until Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He has produced so many amazing films. Roman Polanski has made some amazing films. Woody Allen's made some amazing films. All these predators and monsters. Like, what do we do with that? You have a horrible human being, but amazing art. What do we do?
Right. I thought about that, like with music too. They say it like R. Kelly and shit like that. And to be honest, I hate to see money go into their pockets anymore. And now with this new era, I feel a little bit more comfortable being like, yeah, like I've played a couple R. Kelly bangers in my car when I'm alone, when no one's around, because I already purchased them on iTunes and he's not getting a dime off me. I'm just going to enjoy, the remix to Ignition. So it's like, what can you do? What can you do? I'm still going to enjoy those movies. I still love Kill Bill.
Yeah, it's just a recent thing that is, because of the other work I'm doing. It's just like, that's a question that most of us don't ever actually think about. It's like,
you don't ever want to be in a position where you are truly supporting and enjoying the art of something that came out of a horrible situation. Like if you found out that like on set, there was horrific shit going on a movie set, and then you enjoyed that movie. No one ever wants to be the one to be like, oh guys, did you see that movie? It was so dope. You should totally come over and smoke a bowl and watch it with me. But at the same time, like, it's tricky. This is a really challenging time for people.
Oh, definitely.
Because you got to make a choice, because we really shouldn't be supporting like a monstrous situation for a woman or a boy, like anyone.
For anyone.
Absolutely. So it's tricky. It's dicey.
Like, I honestly don't know where to fucking land. I love Chinatown.
Right. I love like Roman Polanski. Like I loved, like Roman Polanski is an interesting one, because that dude has had such two extreme traumas that most people can't even comprehend or never even come close to. He was a teenage survivor of the Holocaust.
Right.
Like that alone is like unthinkably tragic and traumatizing. And then for his pregnant wife to be murdered in one of the most crazy, like well-known,
that is still brought up in popular media to this day. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood still revisited on it.
How could they not? It's a fascinating thing that happened. I wanted to hear all the details about that murder. That was insane. I can't even believe, it's mind-blowing. But, then he goes and, fucking drugs and sodomizes a 13-year-old girl. And you're like, my God, like I can't help but have compassion for someone that fucked up.
It's a rough situation. It's just like.
But I also think he shouldn't be allowed near girls anymore.
Agreed.
So I guess that's where we land. I guess, those are the well-known ones. It's dicey because you don't know what's revealed to us and what information we could get for certain people, and we don't know what's hidden from us. So we might.
It's we live in a world of grays. Nothing is clean cut and black and white. There's a lot of horrible shit, and there's a lot of shit that people can be condemned for and should be condemned for. But it's just, it's a weird world we live in, and as we shine more of a spotlight on it, it's just weirder and weirder.
Yeah, it's new. We're just all kind of figuring it out, you know? I said, I did Sam Tripoli show a little while ago, like not Tinfoil Hat, but it was Naughty Show, towards the end of the Naughty Show podcast. And I go, hey man, like he was kind of complaining about how certain like radical feminists behave and judge him as a person. And I was like, I mean, it's new to us. Like this is a new thing for women. We just now are able to work jobs other than being a nurse, or so we're going to fuck up a little. We're on a bike without training wheels for the first time. It's not going to be a smooth ride for a while, you know?
It may never be. I mean, reality is really not a smooth ride for anyone.
True. I don't like people to feel divided, I guess you could say. Like I say, like I identify as a grateful American. Like I've got some things I'm sure I feel like democratically inclined. Like I understand where Republicans are coming from on certain issues. I don't think any one person can be like, oh, I'm all this side or all that side.
Well,
there's in between for everyone.
100%. And if you are 100% just on a side, it's blind tribalism.
Totally. That's a great way.
You are not looking at it critically if you're just blindly on any one side.
That's what sports are for.
I don't even agree with that. Like,
just kidding.
No, I know, but I agree. I mean, people definitely do that, and that's pretty harmless when someone's like, unless they're trying to stab people in Dodger Stadium.
Exactly. Oh, you're from LA, you know.
Yeah.
I do find I am a documentary junkie, and my favorite documentaries are always the sports documentaries because they have the most money. So they're the most well done, well produced, best editor, best music, like the Aaron Hernandez documentary.
I was just about to bring that up. Holy shit.
I just showed it to my mom, like right before the fucking thing. We finally watched it together, and we were just like, whoa, I didn't even know about all this stuff. And I was like, whew, couldn't keep my eyes off of that one.
Is your mom a Pats fan?
My dad's from the East Coast, so our family.
I thought you had some family from Boston.
Yeah, I do. So that side of the family's over there, and definitely Pats rule. Tom Brady is king, not anymore. Obviously, goes to Tampa, but anyway. But yeah.
Hey, maybe Tom and Giselle are going to do some swinging.
I mean, they're right though. In the documentary, they say, the Patriots program is different than anyone else's. They win for a reason. They do things differently. They work hard, and so it's like everyone's going to hate you if you're the one that works hard and diligently and differently and are successful as a result of it.
Well, yeah, everyone's jealous of the top of the mountain, no matter what field you're in.
For sure.
I mean, that's just human nature.
Yeah, just a bunch of fucking savages running on caveman software hasn't changed since 800 BC or whatever.
No, 100%. Like, it's like, oh, hey, hey, a potential mate who, I'm into asked me to do something stupid. Yeah, I'll end up doing something stupid.
I mean, can you imagine, like, what would our interaction be if it were at the point in humanity where we just stopped evolving? If it was like the Ice Age and we were just like, hey, man, it's kind of cold over here in Vegas. How's it going in California? We wouldn't even have the names of these cities planned out yet. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't feel like we're that far from it.
Yeah, that too. It's strange.
Because you look at, like, the toilet paper situation. Like, that was just blind fear.
My God, what was that about?
That was just blind fucking fear. That was just like fucking reptile brains. Like, oh my God, I can't wipe my asshole. I just gotta steal all the fucking toilet paper.
It was just like, why not water or laundry detergent or soap? Like,
yeah, laundry detergent's so much more important. You dumb fucks, they're not turning off the water at the end of the day if you have a dirty asshole, take another shower.
Yeah. Or like use a napkin or tissue.
Oh, I'm not looking to tear up my sensitive asshole like that. I don't know what kind of asshole you have, Miss Jayden Cole, but
not for this butthole.
Not for this butthole. It is, double ply, very soft, or water is what's happening here. Well,
So,
I don't know what kind of rough asshole you got going on over there. I'm not here to judge. I mean, if you're down with the single ply and like sandpaper against your asshole,
I'm not. I did end up ordering though last minute on Amazon. I found like toilet paper, but it was like Japanese toilet paper. It doesn't have the toilet paper roll. It just is a roll of toilet paper with no roll. So it just starts like they like folded it and wrapped it each roll instead of like there's just no roll. It's interesting.
I never experienced that while I was in Japan. I'm trying to think.
Well, it came from a Japanese company, so it might not be from Japan. It might be like the stuff that they use in Japanese restaurants or something.
Dude, I mean, most of the Japanese restaurants I went to still had the shower toilets. Like they had the bidets in the restaurants.
Wow. Yeah, America really missed out on the whole bidet craze, didn't they? I don't
Up
ever.
until this, like bidet sales have gone through the fucking roof.
I bet. They're like, you know what would be great right now? Is guaranteeing my asshole being clean.
I mean, have you ever used a Japanese toilet?
No.
They're fucking amazing.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I have a friend out here that one of my close friends out here, she lived in Japan, went to an American school, so she doesn't have an accent, but she knows all the Japanese things. So
I've been to Tokyo twice and it's one of my happy places. But the Japanese toilets are fucking amazing because like it threw me off the first time, but the seat warms. And then like you get to pick the water pick settings for your asshole.
Oh, what a luxury. And
Right?
that's at like a casual restaurant. That's not at like the baller hotels only.
Yeah. No, like the ballers hotels have a whole nother level. The first hotel I stayed in Tokyo was a Sheraton. It was a pretty nice Sheraton. It had a defogging mirror.
Ooh.
Like
Stop
the mirror
it.
just defogs in the middle of it. I'm like, what? Huh? What is that? Where am I right now? It was a whole nother level.
That's
Whole nother
fancy.
level.
The only place I've been to in Asia was when I first became a Penthouse Pet. Penthouse sent me to Seoul, South Korea for like literally 3 days and nonstop work. Just like photo shoot, interview, photo shoot, whatever. But I remember it was just like the fanciest hotel I'd ever been to, the fanciest bathroom I'd ever seen. Got to eat some bomb Japanese food, bomb fucking Korean food. It was pretty fucking cool. But I just remember the toilets being like, is this normal? Like, or do you guys just like roll out the red carpet? Their work ethic is so different than ours.
Oh, Japan is on a whole other level. I haven't been to Korea yet. Seoul is on the fucking list to go to.
Yeah, you should check it out. It'll remind you of Tokyo, I'm sure. A version of Tokyo for sure.
I'm sure. But
Demographically.
I don't know. A lot more Koreans in Seoul, I would assume.
Never mind. Yeah,
I would assume. But Japan is definitely like a super work hard, play hard culture. It is so different than anywhere in the States.
Yeah.
Like you go to a major. Why am I talking about Japan again? Like this has happened on a couple shows recently because I have such love for Tokyo. But you'll go to a major train station and there'll be hundreds of unlocked bikes. Like because people won't steal them.
Right.
You just leave your fucking bike at the fucking train station all day unlocked. It's fine.
I heard they're super polite.
They are, even when they're being really racist.
What's so funny? Like my friend, Joe, Asian Joe.
Oh, I love Joe.
I love Joe too. He's Thai. He actually just came by this morning. He texted me. He was like, "Can I come get my paint stuff?" Because he helped me paint my apartment. And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'll leave it downstairs." And he's like, "Okay, I'll just swoop in so we don't have any, social distancing issues." So he just did that today. But no, him and my friend Kelly Shibari, who's the Japanese girl, they both told me they're like, Asians are the most racist people. It's so funny to me because every time like an Asian gets offended on Twitter or something, I'm just like, the real Asians know.
I mean, I've heard from like Asian friends like, oh, the Asians are super racist against other Asians.
Yes, totally.
But with Japan, visible tattoos have criminal connotation. It's like wearing gang colors.
Oh, wow.
So
They're
go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say this, like the 80s in America.
It's worse there. because tattooing is semi-legal at best in Japan.
Okay.
Like, there are some provinces where you have to have a medical license to be able to tattoo.
Mm.
So the first trip I was there with my tattoo artist, and I did not cover my tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
My tattoo artist has face and neck tattoos. And he's black, so, like, yeah, if a black man with, facial and neck tattoos and me showing off my tattoos, we got kicked out of a bunch of places.
Really? Just asked to leave?
Yeah, but they were so polite about it, we, like, felt like we had done something wrong.
Oh, man, it wasn't the tattoos. It was just they saw a black guy and a Jewish guy. They're like, get out.
But we have money. We want to spend money at your establishment. We just
I'm
want to
just
spend
kidding.
money. No, but it really was that. Like, we rolled into a place in Shibuya, like, that advertised having English menus outside. That's why we rolled in. And
Right.
100% middle of the day, the server saw us and rolled up and went, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry we're closed. I'm so sorry we're closed. And we're like, oh, our bad. We'll go somewhere else. And we make it out to the street. We went, wait a minute. They're definitely not closed. There were definitely people eating there right now.
Oh, that's so weird.
But, like, the Jedi mind trick was all like, oh, man, we fucked up. We're sorry. We fucked up. We'll go somewhere else.
Right. Yes. I'm apologizing to him.
Exactly. It was just like, oh, we fucked up here. And I'm also very much of the opinion, like, especially whenever I travel abroad, like, I'm in your culture. I should,
respect your cultural norms.
respect your cultural norms. I should conform to your cultural norms.
Right. I agree. I think that's part of the fun and excitement of going to a new town. It's kind of adapting to their cultural norms and
Right.
stepping outside your comfort zone.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why so many Americans get, like, fucking, Paris gets a bad rap. Because I feel like it's Americans who are like, what do you mean you ain't gonna speak English to me?
Yeah, I agree. I wanted a grilled cheese.
Yeah, why are you being rude? Because you didn't even fucking try any fucking French, you asshole. Like,
I agree.
The one time I was in Paris, like, it's like, bonjour, no parlez-vous français? Parlez-vous anglais? And every Parisian was like a smile, like, no parlez-vous anglais? And it's like, and then we tried to work it out. But I at least fucking tried.
Yeah, you figured it out. I wonder what they enjoy most. I remember I was a big Anthony Bourdain fan, and he went to France. And even during the filming of his show, Anthony Bourdain, well-known public figure, they were still pretty rude to him. Like, he tried to speak French to them, and they spoke English. And I remember that moment in that episode where he was in Paris, and he was just like, I can speak French, and, like, they won't even speak it to me. Like, they were, like, snobbing him, even though they had, like, cameras, and, like, I think they just like to fuck with people.
It could be, but I mean, that was not my experience. My experience was everyone was super cool as long as I tried.
Oh, that's great. I like hearing that, because I think everybody's going to get a different experience.
Yeah, but every time, like, I hear from someone who's like, oh, the Parisians were rude to me, I'm like, were you being a dick and demanding that they speak English?
Dude, you sound like me after AVN. The girl's like, some of the people will complain, like, oh, the staff at the Hard Rock is dicks. I'm like, I haven't even come close to having a bad experience with any of the employees. But did you treat them like you were human? Were you trying to get to a part that they were told by their boss not to let anyone in? Like, were they doing their job and you were just being a dick trying to push the buttons? Or were you just exhausted and maybe coming off a little rude because you've been surrounded by fucking porn fans all day? Like, I take shit like that with a grain of salt for sure.
You have to. You absolutely have to. You can't. It's like so many people don't have the self-actualization to be like, oh, I might have been in the wrong there. I might have been the dick.
I know. I think certain people are just entitled, like, people should be treating me with utmost respect all the time. And if they're not, I'm talking about what a dick they are.
Yeah. It's like, hey, do they fucking know you? You got to earn respect.
Totally.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, whenever I travel abroad, I try to at least I don't speak shit about English, and I barely speak English. But I try to at least learn some phrases in whatever language I'm trying to do.
It's going to help you get through the day.
Yeah, like, it's just respectful. It's just the respect of their culture. Like, I'm coming into your house.
Exactly. I agree. I went to I filmed a Cinemax TV show, Skinemax actually, called Life on Top Season 2. years ago. And so I spent I was one of the main characters. So I got to spend 2 months in Bucharest, Romania, which was so fucking cool. I was in my early 20s. I didn't speak Romanian, but I didn't need to. And during that time of day where they have their siesta, everything's closed from 1 to 3, was typically where I would just go walk by myself and just see the city. And it was so cool. And every time I walked into a restaurant, I walk in by myself and just grab some pasta at 2:30 in the afternoon or something. I'd be the only one there. And what I found, me walking around Eastern Europe, everyone would just come up to me and start speaking to me in Romanian because I just look like a local. I look like an Eastern European chick. So that was so cool. I was like, oh, they think I'm a local. I'm a tall, skinny, kind of pretty young chick. And that's the only kind of chicks they have in Romania and Eastern Europe, all the hot girls.
Well, shit, I'm in the wrong place.
I know, you got to go to Eastern Europe, dude. That's where they're at.
I mean, before this,
for a green card.
Before all this shit broke out, I was gonna roll through, Prague and hang out with some people that I know that live there now, and
expats.
Yeah, well, I know a couple people industry wise that are living in Prague now. So.
Oh my God, yes, that's a great idea. I'll go with you. I loved Eastern Europe.
All right. Well, we'll see if you're one of the few. You're one of the few guests who's going to follow through on going international with me.
I'm always looking to go international. I want to go to I'm a scuba diver, but I want to learn how to free dive. So there's certain places that, when I think about going somewhere, I always think beach, dive, surf, sand, day drinking, no shoes, no shirt.
I'm down with the beach, the day drinking, and no shoes, no shirt. I am apparently not. This Jew is not meant for diving. I tried to do a very controlled dive in Australia when I was there, and it ain't for me.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I
just something I got in my fucking head. I was just not comfortable under the water.
Then you just shouldn't be there, because the only 2 reasons people get hurt or die diving is anxiety or ego. I
got both.
Yeah, wherever that comes from, you got to leave that at the surface. It's so funny.
It was just one of those things where I'm doing this dive, I'm starting to do the dive, and I'm under the water, and I'm a Jew with sinus problems, so I'm not properly clearing.
Oh,
and
no.
I start getting in my head about it, I'm not properly clearing, I start kind of freaking out under the water. And
yeah.
I'm like, abort. I'm just gonna abort. And they're just
man.
Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I don't need a refund or anything, but yeah, this ain't for me.
It's honestly, it's hard to describe. You have to understand you're really just breathing at 80%.
Well,
scuba diving.
The breathing through the tank didn't bother me so much. It was just as you go further down, you got to clear, and it just wasn't happening properly. I just never felt
equalizing.
Yeah, I was just never equalizing properly.
Oh, that's the worst. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I have sinus problems, and I just wasn't equalizing properly. And I started to freak out because I wasn't equalizing properly.
Yeah,
so I'm like, nope, I'm out.
That's a wrap on this shit.
Yeah, that's a wrap on this shit. And it was I paid to shark dive at the Manly Aquarium in Australia, in Sydney. And they're you sure you don't want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I'm out.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. That's funny. That's pretty cool, though, that you even tried.
I mean, the fucked up part about it is, if you give me the opportunity to skydive, I will happily skydive. I've done it before. I will do it again. And I just couldn't get over, getting in my own head about, fucking diving.
Oh, yeah. It's so different. It's really, not at all what I expected. I had an ego when I went into the water, because I grew up, I was born in Huntington Beach, and just been thrown in the ocean all my life. Surf camp when I was a kid, I went multiple times. Very comfortable in the water. When I learned how to dive, I was with one of my friends is kind of a nerd. So to me, I was like, step aside. Let me show you how it's done in the water. And it's not. It's for tech geeks. It's more of a you know what I mean? It's very technical. It's not it has nothing to do with your physical ability to be in the water, to swim, I was like, leave me in the water for 4 days. I'll survive in the middle of the ocean. I will thrive. No, this was not. Diving was a whole other level. Very technical. It was my thing.
There's fucking math involved.
Yeah, there's like literal tablet tables that you have to fill out, and I lagged on the work that you're supposed to do, the homework you're supposed to do, the schoolwork basically. I was like not ready. I was like, oh shit. I had my friend like Googling the answers last minute. I was like, I'm not taking 12 hours to take an online quiz. Just like, throw me in the water. We'll figure this shit out. So thank God I survived.
Well, I'm glad you didn't die. This would be a much weirder interview with just talking to your corpse for 2 hours.
Right?
Just Joe propping you up and like, weekend and burning you on air. Yeah, it's just that's not for me. I have to admit that like I'm never going to dunk like Jordan, and I'm not going to dive.
Yeah, you just have to accept certain things your body's not capable of.
No, but I will happily just chill beachside drinking while you go fucking do whatever dive you want.
Yeah, I get it.
It's one of those things.
It's all good.
It is. I appreciate it. But Jen, I think we're actually going to wrap this motherfucker up. We've been at this for over 2 hours already.
Excellent. That means it went well.
It did it? Oh my God. I mean, and we're making vacation plans together, even though we haven't seen each other in like 2 years. So I guess
Dude, I'm so down. I'm
going to hold you to it.
All right.
My audience is going to hold you to it too. Like,
we'll make Prague plans.
All right. I mean, there's a whole Eastern European thing. What's your thoughts on Spain?
What's my thoughts on it?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go. Let's go.
All right. Because so pre-quarantine shit, a buddy of mine got married in Spain in 2015, and we were supposed to do his 5-year anniversary thing in Spain, but that would have been like now.
Wow.
So they're pushing it. They're pushing it back to post whenever we get out of quarantine because not wanting to die.
Everything, the dates and stuff that we're so used to organizing and planning are so up in the air. It's just weird to have to sit with this discomfort of not having our security blankets and our coping mechanisms.
I know. I mean, this is unprecedented times for everyone involved.
Unprecedented. Yeah. By word of Trump. I love getting people's I love riling people up by just mentioning some shit like that. But it's all love. It's all love.
I mean, it's one of those things where theoretically, the man has sex with sex workers and wants to start a space force. I should be behind his plans, but I'm not.
Right? He seems like a cool guy to hang out with, to be honest. Imagine going out at night with that guy. That's the guy you want.
Except he doesn't drink and claims he's never drank.
Oh, I hate guys like that. Man, it's always rich, entitled dudes that are like, oh, no, sex is my vice. I'm like, oh, yeah. Can you imagine a girl saying that shit? No, we're going to have a drink because I have to deal with being in a world where rich white men can just be like, no, I don't have sex is more my vice. Just kidding.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm going to smoke a joint and forget that I even heard people say that. But I do hear that a lot with privileged dudes seem to say that a lot. They're like, no, I don't drink or smoke. Sex is my vice. I'm just like, must be nice. Can you imagine? What would you think of me if that was my opening line when someone offered me a drink? No, I'll be having sex later tonight. It's more my thing.
You would have to beat dudes away with a stick at that point if you said
it. I know. I would just have to have a professional bodyguard 24/7.
Holy fuck. Why did I mention that I have sex? Why? There's so many dudes just beat.
I'm like, it just must be nice to just throw that out there. It's too funny.
If I threw that line out, they'll be like, yeah, I don't have any vices but sex. They'll be like, sure you do, bro. Sure. Sure. Believe you. Okay. So, Jane, we're really going to wrap this up. We're going to really call on this motherfucker.
All right, Matt.
We'll make plans to go to Prague at some point.
I would love that. You got to have me back on sometime. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll actually do it in person at some point, maybe in the next 5 years at the going rate.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm glad you just agreed. I'll hang out with you in 5 years. And we're going every 2 years at this point. So
I was thinking 4.5.
Oh, well, thank you for the extra 6 months. I mean,
I'm joking.
You are? I'm not sure. Not sure you're joking. maybe a half kid. But hey, reality, we're going to actually wrap this fucking show. Where can the audience find you on OnlyFans? Where can they spend all their hard-earned money on you?
My website link is just jaydenfans.com.
Nice and easy.
Twitter, I'm at Jayden Cole. Everything else on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, all that is just Miss Jayden Cole. MissJaydencole. That's where you can find me.
Find her. Spend your money on her. Like, she has a house in Vegas that she has to spend money on.
Help me pay my mortgage. JaydenFans.com.
Right? Keep her in a lifestyle that she can grow accustomed to, that she can afford to go to Prague and all that fun shit.
Yeah, Prague money. I need it. Come give it to me. Or just talk to me on Twitter. Twitter's my main thing. Twitter's the one thing that has never banned me. Never. I think I'm shadow banned, but who isn't? All the cool kids are.
Right? It's like a badge of fucking honor to be shadow banned on Twitter.
Yeah, you know you're one of the cool ones.
Sadly, I don't think I am.
Aw, you'll get there one day. Once this interview comes out, you'll be well on your way to getting shadow banned.
I think I'll just start rocking gray sweatpants and be like, this is my erection. Like, maybe that'll do it.
And also, like, Twitter, I'm just Jayden Cole. It's just my name. Like, I'm allowed to keep that. I've gone through, like, about 8 different Instagram accounts in the last 2 years alone. So Miss Jayden Cole is what they finally allowed me to use as my Instagram handle. So Twitter's kind of where it's at.
Those puritanical motherfuckers.
Oh,